Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me again, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there's no shame in his game because he is always the same.
That's me.
Grumpy, how are you, my
friend? Yeah. I know TJ loves when I do that. That's why I do it.
Oh, grumpy. How are you? After a little Islanders win, we are coming live at you after the Arizona Coyotes game Saturday evening around 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Again, as always promised, we go live every single Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and every Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless the Islanders are playing a game that day. If the Islanders play a game, we go live right after the Islanders game.
That's good because that means next Saturday we'll be going live around 4:30.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, it's a 1:30 Eastern time game against Nashville. After we lose to Vegas tomorrow, we have off for 5 days, and then we play Nashville.
You're ridiculous. Stop. Anyway, but the best way to make sure you don't miss out on any of the action is by subscribing on YouTube, liking on Facebook, and following on Twitter. Very pertinent that it is. And again, you can also check out our sports podcast where we talk sports and shoot the shit. It's called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. That is in the link in the description below, Grumpy. But I want to ask, what were your thoughts and opinions on tonight's game?
Well, last week I told everyone not to panic because we would get 5 points during the week and everyone will be happy Saturday night, hopefully. And Grumpstradamus was once again correct. We picked up 5 points out of the 6. My impressions of today's game were, hey, we got the 2 points, right?
Yes.
Arizona is really bad. They're the worst team in the league. I can't imagine anyone being worse than them. They had 11 guys get moved off their roster last year in the offseason, and it looked like they were a ragtag bunch out there. The disturbing thing for me was, for most of the game, they outplayed the Islanders, I'm like, you got to be kidding me, guys.
Hold on. I want to ask you about that. You think they outplayed the Islanders? Now, I don't think they outplayed us. I just thought it was it's a typical Islanders style of game tonight. It was for a casual fan, it's a very boring product to watch out there on the ice.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, but here's the thing. If you're playing in the Syosset Men's League, that's not what it should look like if you're a professional team.
If we're playing in the what men's league?
The Syosset Men's League.
Who's that?
That's out of Long Island, Syosset. It's a town on Long Island.
Fair enough. Hey, I had to ask.
That's a game that we should have dominated start to finish, and we didn't. We had 12 shots through the second period. But the worst thing was that Barry Trotz What's the only thing that could have stopped the Barzell, Palmieri, and average line? Barry Trotz. That's the only thing that could have stopped it, and he did it tonight.
Grumpy,
Yeah.
you act like I've got everything set up how I want to introduce everything. And Grumpy, he just jumps right into it. He hits on about 4 or 5 different points that are talking points we're going to talk about and elaborate on. And he mentions them
Oh, okay.
10
Stop.
seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds.
Hold on. First of
Grumpy.
all, did you tell me what you were going to talk about on the show?
Grump, because we're in a hurry. We got to make sure we're getting all
Okay,
the
so the answer is no. So I want to make sure that I get the pertinent facts out there. I don't know if you even pay attention to the game, honestly. I don't know what you're doing, you're eating or whatever. I mean, hopefully you ate your dinner, went to the bathroom 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times since the game ended. So maybe you want to bail before the end of the show.
Yes, I had my Saturday evening tradition of 6 hot dogs. So yes, I'm ready to go.
Ugh.
Locked and loaded and ready to go. That is, Grumpy old man.
Okay.
That being said, no, I mean, tonight's game, they didn't look dominant. I'm going to use air quotes, dominant like other teams have when they're playing the Arizona Coyotes. The Arizona Coyotes, ladies and gentlemen, are the worst team in the NHL. We can go ahead and pencil that down. They are going to have the worst record in the NHL. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, just like I said last Saturday evening, when fans were ready to jump off a cliff, jump from a support beam, I said, hey, we played 2 really good cup competitor teams. That does bring questions for us later on. It certainly does. Now we played some cellar dwellers. Again, we came away with 5 points out of possible 6, which is good to know. That being said, I really don't care too much about the results right now. And this might be odd. Many people might not have the same belief. I can care less about the wins and losses. I care about how the team looks. Would you agree, Grumpy?
Well, you got to put points up, okay? But I understand where you're coming from. It's how we're playing. Right now, I'm still not happy with how we're playing. You see Barry changed up the defense pairings. It looks like his new pairing groups are going to be Pulak and Chara. That's scary. If you watch Chara today, I counted at least 4 times where guys just, when he had the puck, just skated right up to him and took the puck away. And like I said, this is like the Z team that they played today. They're bad. And they just took the puck away from him. And then he's going to have Pellick with Mayfield, and then the old standby Dobson and Green. This way, I guess, I don't know what the minutes were for today, but I don't want to see Noah Dobson's minutes getting cut just because he's paired with Andy Green.
I think that's a good point. They needed to mix up the defensive pairings in some capacity. They need to do something else. The defense the first few games was less than stellar. And I know fans are very upset after we lost to the Columbus Blue Jackets in overtime. And man, oh man, it's one of those things that always drives me insane. This is, again, Barry Trotz, fantastic coach, excellent coach, top 5 coach in the NHL. One of those small things that drive me nuts are in overtime. Why the hell are we putting people on the ice in a 3-on-3 situation that are not excellent skaters? The goal and the purpose of the 3-on-3 is they want high-flying, exciting hockey. If you have players that can't skate, don't put them on the ice.
Well, but the whole thing is, what do we have, about 4 or 5 guys on the whole team who can skate? You have to, you got to put somebody else out there, and he has to have the obligatory Josh Bailey sighting in overtime too. So,
let me ask you about that, Grumpy. Now let me ask you. Speaking about it, Grump, Josh Bailey, going into the end of the second period, was dubbed a little goal, a power play goal, might I add. And oh man, Grumpy, I know you had to be sweating. You had to be nervous. You're like, holy shit, Josh Bailey, the freaking Dragon Slayer, goes ahead and scores a freaking a power play goal. Grumpy, how worried were you if he was going to be assigned that power play goal? Because as soon as I saw it, I was like, hold on. That hit off of Brock Nelson. I was messaging in Mike M's Discord. I said, does anybody else see what I'm seeing? I'm pretty sure they hit off of Brock Nelson. They corrected it in post. But were you worried if Josh Bailey was given that goal?
I didn't even realize it was a power play goal, honestly, until after the period. And, I think Shannon said something about it being a power play goal. And I was like, first thing I noticed, I saw the shot from Bailey, and it was obviously not a direct shot. It was flubbing. I feel he fanned on it, faked out the goalie or whatever. First it hits off Chikrin's stick, and then it hits off of Nelson's stick and goes in. Those are the only type of goals. I had something written down when it was initially said. I jotted it down here. Bailey scores an own goal by chicken. That's a soccer term. Typical. But I knew that was the end of the game. The game was over. That 2-0, and I had a feeling they were going to score. That we were going to score in the last 4 minutes. I thought we picked our play up. I really did, because I thought we were dominated the whole period. And then I said, we score a goal here at the end. Arizona's getting ready to fold up the tents, go home. Circus is over. And that's certainly what happened. And here's the thing. Could you imagine if Josh Bailey actually scored? You might as well disband the franchise as far as I'm concerned. But the hockey gods intervened and said, no, Josh, we can't give you a puck that bounced around pinball style off of every player on every team. You're not going to get credit for that one. And
Grant Hakeem from Islanders United, grumpy old man, he made a little comment about it. I liked how he described it, Grump. I'll let you listen to his take. Oh, man, I got the buffering. Oh, I apologize. That being said, Grump, maybe I got bad connection. Anyway, that being said, grumpy old man, here's the thing. I like the mentality to shoot and put the puck on net. It did bounce all over the place. It's nice to see a power play goal by the Islanders, right? Our power play has been struggling miserably. That being said, I want to talk about the philosophy of Josh Bailey, right? Through the first 5 games of the season, was it 4 or 5 games of the season? He struggled. He has struggled, right? There's no way around that.
Worst player on the team. Worst player on the team, not even close. Considering the ice time he gets, you could say Kiefer Bellows, oh, he was terrible. He gets 6 minutes a game. Ross Johnson, 6 minutes a game. Josh Bailey, 17 minutes a game. 2.5 minutes on the power play. 3 minutes on the penalty kill. And he's the worst player on the team. He makes me long for the days that Leo Komarov was on the top line. That's how bad he is. Like I said, and what did Barry manage to do? He managed to take all the momentum that the first line had and just killed it by putting Josh Bailey on that line.
I want to talk about that first. I think I've got it working here, Grumpy. Oh man, I keep apologizing.
That's okay. You keep on playing over there. I got plenty of stuff.
Here's my question. When you see a player that's struggling, what is generally speaking the approach this team takes? Right?
You put him on the first line.
Grumpy. I know we're at 12 o'clock, man, but we don't have to fit a little, a 3-hour long podcast into 10 and 30 minutes, Grump. I was going to build on it. So here's the thing, right? When we see players struggling, what did we hear all this preseason? Oliver Wallstrom struggling, guys. He might be earning himself a trip down there to Bridgeport. We heard that from the Islanders Inquirer. We heard that, hey, maybe from Art Staples saying, oh, Oliver Wallstrom might be visiting down there to Bridgeport. Hasn't played well this preseason. We heard that from all the Islanders media cartel across anywhere and everywhere. And what do we hear when Josh Bailey's struggling? Do we hear the same type of the calls to action on that? Do we hear, hey, Josh Bailey, you might be getting dropped to the third line. Oliver Wallstrom's been playing well. He's got 3 goals in 4 games. He's been looking good out there. He's flying out there. Maybe we're going to give him some more time and see what he can do with that opportunity and option. No. What we do is we slide him up and elevate him to the top line. The first line had been producing. They had looked excellent. And what do? We break up a line that's working well to go ahead and try to augment some extra offense on the second line because of one individual that happens to be sputtering out of the gates.
The worst player in the history of the Islanders franchise. I don't think that I'm overstating that. I really don't. Or here's the most overrated. That's for certain. Most overrated player in Islanders history. But here's the thing. So what does Barry do? He winds up killing the first line at the expense of the second line. I thought Palmieri played okay today. That line goes as Anthony Beauvillier goes.
I think Palmieri's played extremely well so far this season. Again, we talked about how he would integrate, how he would fill the roles in the shoes of Jordan Eberle. I think he's a perfect fit. He's a better fit for this team than Jordan Eberle was, and I could not be happier about a clean switch of Jordan Eberle there, or Jordan Eberle for Kyle Palmieri. I
was been very critical of Kyle Palmieri. I don't know how many points he has this season. I don't think too many. I mean, that's when you're on the first line, you should be a point producer. Okay, so he might still have the Jordan Eberle points. Okay, but at least he tries, and he's not been the problem out there for the most part. Okay, so I think he's been fine. I think he has good chemistry with Barzal. Average is just what he does. I mean, I don't think it matters where he is. He's never part of the play. He just stands in front of the net. That's what he does. Okay. But the second line today, I thought they were, the thing that frustrated me, even though we won, I'm looking at big picture. I always like to look big picture. How are we going to do when we play, when we're not playing, the Syosset Chiefs, when we're playing somebody a little bit higher level of competition. And I just saw the turnovers in the neutral zone. And who were they? They weren't Oliver Wallstrom. They weren't Matt Barzell. They weren't the young guys. They were Lee, Bailey, Nelson, Chara. They were turning the puck over all night long in the neutral zone, creating opportunities for the worst team in hockey. And that's what Arizona is. They're the worst team in hockey, honestly. I mean, I knew we weren't going to lose that game. I didn't think there was any way we could lose that game. So it was an easy one for me to watch. But I'm like, holy crap. If we play somebody good, we're in trouble. We really are.
It's really freaking early.
Okay, you keep saying that, but what did I say at the end of the preseason? What did I say? I don't care about what the results are. I care how we're playing stylistically. We were giving up odd man chances in the last minute and a half of that game today, in a game where Arizona quit. In the third period, I mean, you could tell that end of the second period goal, that was it for them. And then when Beauvillier, on a nice pass from Kroc, by the way, scores that goal on the semi-breakaway, that was it. That was it. I think the coach even went back to the locker room. All right, whatever, fellas. Everybody could just go home. Just make sure you turn off the lights when the referee blows for the final whistle.
So I look at that a little. I look at it a little differently than you do, Grumpy. Again, the overarching theme. I do think there are areas for improvement on this team. I really do. Right. I think the defense is it's a big question mark right now. Again, as I've mentioned, and I'll continue to mention, having Andy Green and Zdeno Chara in the lineup every single night is a big problem. That's not something that's going to lead to long-term success. Again, as the season continues, I'm not expecting them to continue to amp up their play. The mistakes they're making aren't like rookie mistakes. They're not young player mistakes. These are just, hey, I'm limited with what I can do on the ice, right? Those don't get better as the season goes along, and you have more bumps and bruises. So that's one of those things I'm looking for. Now, the second line not coming off, off to a good start, that is worrying. The first line was working well. I want Palmieri back on the first line. If Josh Bailey's not doing the job and he's playing poor hockey, demote him to the third line, right? Hey, light a fire under his ass. I'm sick and tired of when somebody doesn't play well, he's already preordained of, hey, we love this guy. We're going to do anything we can to help him succeed. So let's go ahead and try to jolt up his battery. We can go ahead and move him up to the top line. That type of stuff, it makes no sense in theory, right? We're going to reward a player who's been playing poorly by giving him more ice time and putting him with better line mates. That makes no sense to me.
Okay, but that's the whole team. The whole team is preordained. Like it's coming down from the burning bush. These are the starters. These are the guys who play. It doesn't matter how good anyone else plays. These are my starters, period. And that's the way Barry Trotz is. He could care less. To me, if you're going to make a change, maybe move Wallstrom up to the first line and put Palmieri on the second, drop Bailey to the third. There's another option for you.
Well, here's the thing. I want to take the same approach I just said. Don't fix what's not broken. The first line was firing on all cylinders. They've played fantastic hockey. They have. Don't mess with the first line. The second line's what's been struggling.
Yeah, but
why then are we going to mess up a line that's excelling, that's playing well, to try to spread the wealth? As I'm sure what a lot of fans and what a lot of the Islanders media cartel are going to say, let's spread the wealth. Our third line's playing well. Our fourth line's playing well. And our first line's playing well. Our second line's not playing well because we have a contributor, one line mate who's not footing the bill.
Okay. We've looked okay against three really bad teams. Okay. Because I still consider Columbus not a good team. They carried the play against us as well. I mean, on Thursday night, they just did. And Arizona had so much offensive zone time. As I was listening to their broadcast, I like to listen to the other team's broadcast and boy, this is the best they played all year. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I can't imagine watching an Arizona game before that if this is the best that they played, because they're terrible. But It just seems like we could not, and they're mishandling the puck all over the place. Their goaltender looked like, who was that fill-in that they got, the Zamboni driver? He was better than this guy. He was from some, I don't know,
Czech Republic.
Czech Republic League. I mean, I'm sorry. He couldn't feel the puck. He was terrible today too.
Gotcha. Grumpy, you're long-winded tonight, my man.
I'm sorry. He did his best Tristan Jarry imitation out there.
You're long-winded tonight, as we just come off of, since our last this week is 2 wins and an overtime loss,
which, as I told you, was going to happen.
Yeah, I know. You're just long-winded. You seem a little angry.
And well, I'm angry because
why?
I knew we were going to get 5 points, but I wanted to see us play Barry Trotz hockey. Right?
We did today.
No, we did not. No, we did not.
Hold on.
Absolutely, we did not.
Before you begin, are you forgetting what Barry Trotz hockey is? Barry Trotz hockey is the bend don't break style, where you look like you're going to be conceding a goal almost 80-90% of the time on the ice. And what do? We catch an odd man break going the other way. We get a lucky bounce, and we're able to put a few in the net, and we go up and we win. It's not impressive hockey for those casual fans, not impressive hockey for people who like to see offense. It's a defensive style, and it's that, retreat back, and you got the collapsing style of defense. That's what it is.
Yeah, but when the Islanders are playing Barry Trotz hockey, they don't turn the puck over in their own zone 3, 4, 5 times a period, and they don't turn it over in the neutral zone 10 times a period. That's what we were doing tonight, and we've been doing it all year. I mean, it worries me. It's a concern for me. And until they clean that up, because when they do clean that up, we're going to be extremely successful. If they don't clean that up, it's going to be a long season for us. That's all I'm saying. We need to clean it up. And here's the thing. The one good thing, after we lose to Vegas tomorrow night, we got 5 days to work on this, because I guarantee you we're losing to Vegas tomorrow night. Guaranteed.
What makes you put that down? What makes you say we're losing to Vegas tomorrow?
Because Vegas has skill on their team.
Vegas has hold on. Okay. Grumpy, come on, my guy. I know you long-winded tonight, but come on. Right? Vegas Golden Knights are off to a hideous start. It's funny, right? They talked about this. All teams that made the semifinals last year have been off to very less than stellar starts. Whether you're looking at, Vegas Golden Knights haven't played well. The Montreal Canadiens haven't played well. The Islanders haven't played well. Probably the Tampa Bay Lightning have been off to, I would say, probably the best start, quote unquote. But those 4 teams haven't played well to start the year.
Well, so what does that mean? What does that mean?
I'm seeing a lot of people hypothesize that maybe
excuses. Stop making excuses. Your team wasn't ready to come out and play.
You asked me. Hold on. You see what I mean by you're just wanting to talk tonight? Should we just let this be the grumpy old man monologue tonight? Because we could do that. Fans would like it. They don't like me talking as much as you going off the rails.
That's true.
That being said, you asked me for what the hypothesis was. I was going to give it to you. People are saying because they played a lot more hockey, more weeks of hockey and very emotional hockey towards the end of the year, that, they've got to slowly get the engine started back up. That's what we're seeing, is a lot of, what these teams are propagating out there, what the Islanders media cartel is trying to promote.
Okay, just to make it clear, I did not ask what your hypothesis was. You just offered one. Okay? I didn't say, TJ, what's your hypothesis? I did not ask. I don't ask you any questions. I never do, because you're never prepared. Okay? So you're spouting what other people said. Hey, that's fine, right? Hey, that's cool. TJ,
if you're gonna come off to your point, man, you have to let everybody else know what else is going out there first, instead of you just yelling about.
Okay, my whole thing is all these teams, right? It sounds just like excuse making. Stop making excuses. Guess what? Vegas, Colorado, Tampa Bay, Montreal, Islanders. You're not playing good because your team's just not playing well right now. Don't give me an excuse because you were in the Stanley Cup final 3 months ago that all of a sudden you can't be ready to play. I don't want to hear it. I don't. I mean, we didn't lose anybody really. We lost Nick Leddy off of our roster in essence. That's all we lost off our roster.
And Jordan Eberle.
Yeah, but we replaced him with who was the other guy? Palmieri, right? Number 21.
Well, we're looking at, oh God. Let's not get into this again.
We replaced him with Anders Lee. Isn't that what we did?
Let's not get into this again. The off season's over. Thank freaking God. Let's not get into this again.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, my concern is it's the looseness with the puck in our zone, being loose with it turning over. That's not Barry Trotz hockey. And it's not the young guys doing it. It's the vets. And that, to me, it's like, why? I have to ask the question, why?
Because...
Now, here you go. When I ask why, now you can offer an opinion.
Oh, thank you. Thank you on the show where we're co-hosts, Grumpy Old Man. You're going to allow me to speak. Oh, why, thank you, Grumpy. Thank you for allowing me this small platform to offer my small opinion. Thank you, Grump. Well, why we're doing that, we're going to have those issues. Andy Green and Zdeno Chara are not going to go ahead and buffer those out. We don't have a lot of guys on the back end that can go ahead and move the puck up. You see how you're having to chug down your drink? It's because you've been talking all podcast long. Keep on chugging, Grumpy. Keep on chugging that purple drink.
Once again, I give him the opportunity to speak, and he can't do it. Thank you. That's why I do the talking on the show. You're the host.
You're ridiculous.
You feed me the questions. I give you the answers.
You're ridiculous. Stay in your lane there, Grump. You know what, Grumpy? You'll be happy to know Simon Holmstrom, 5 games played, 0 goals, 1 assist. Simon Holmstrom registered his first point today for Bridgeport, Grumpy. Well on his way to becoming an all-time great.
Who's that sound like? What's his plus minus?
-5.
Oh, very familiar.
Or -5, 3, something like that.
He was already on the first line, though, wasn't he?
I
just don't understand it. I mean, I dropped an F. Bailey before the game even. As soon as I saw the lineups, I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Effing Josh freaking Bailey on the first line. He's the only guy who performs worse than everybody else and somehow gets promoted to the first freaking line. And what does he do? He is like vegetation killer on a garden that's growing. You just pour Josh Bailey on and it destroys everything. That's your pal, Josh Bailey.
Oh, goodness gracious, Grumpy.
He sucks.
So you're saying he's like some type of herbicide to a weed?
I'm saying to a flourishing garden.
Fair enough. I get your analogy. But geez, man, I'm
not comparing the Islanders' first line to a weed. I consider it a garden because I'm positive on this show. You're negative, comparing our players to just some random weeds. Where I think that we're a beautiful garden when we're working on all cylinders. And Josh Bailey, well, he's not.
What else are you thinking, Grumpy?
Oh, I'm thinking about a lot of things right now.
What else, Grumpy? I mean, hey, man, what is that? What the hell is it? I'm thinking about a WWE promoter who's just one of those guys go on and on and on and on, Grumpy. That's the feeling I'm getting from you tonight. I'm feeling like you're a promoter or something like that, Grumpy.
First of all, it wouldn't be a promoter. I'd be some of the talent who would be given a promo. That's what it would be.
Oh, that's what it sounds like.
Like Mean Gene Okerlund would come out and say, hey, Hulk Hogan, what do you got to say about facing Big John Studd? And then he'd come out and go, and everybody, and when Hulkamania's run wild on you, brother. That's the type of stuff he do. That's the promo.
No, I was talking about the manager who wouldn't actually do anything, but just was the talker for like geez. Don't worry about it.
Or like Captain Lou Albano or the Grand Wizard of Wrestling or
like the Mouth of the South. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. I look at you. You're supposed to be able to go ahead and provide me those type of references, Grump. I set you up for it and we miss. Come on.
You said promoter. Vince McMahon is the promoter.
Oh, I apologize, Grump. I didn't get my wrestling terminology correct.
Get it right.
Jesus Christ. You know what, Grumpy? All I got to say is I'm just going to be sitting here with a smile on my face. If the Islanders come out, hey, this next Wednesday, I'll be sitting here with a smile on my face if Vegas Golden Knights lose. Remember, Vegas Golden Knights have some injuries, Grumpy, right? You talk about how they've been off to a bad start. They're extremely talented. They're this, they're that. The Vegas Golden Knights are banged up.
Okay. Are they more banged up? Are they a better team than Arizona? Because I'd be loath to think that they were worse than Arizona.
No,
I looked at that lineup and I'm like, holy crap, Andrew Ladd. Andrew Ladd plays on the second line. He stole the puck from Zdeno Chara in the first period today. I'm like, Andrew freaking Ladd stripped you from the puck. I'm like, oh, Chara, please. That said, they did a great interview. They had Butch talking with Chara at the intermission at the end of the first period. And I'll tell you what respect I have for Zdeno Chara. What a class guy. Fantastic. He can't play hockey anymore, which is okay. But, just what a great individual. And it was really nice. I love that interview. I really did. Really good.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I've loved Zdeno Chara. You can tell the guy's been around a long, long, long time. He's got a love for the game that supersedes a lot else. And that's the reason why, again, you're not going to see me trash on Big Z. You're going to hear me say he just can't do it anymore. I'm not going to blame him. The people who put him out are the people I'm going to blame. So
True.
And again, I'm not expecting a lot from Chara. That's the thing. For people who watch the show, we don't expect a lot from Zdeno Chara. I just think that he's being used improperly. He should be used as a number 7 defenseman or a guy that alternates with Andy Green, right? One game on for Andy Green, one game off for Zdeno Chara. Ideally, you'd like to have a top 4 defenseman on the left-handed defensive side instead of, Big Z or Andy Green being a top 4 defenseman at this stage in their career.
Let me ask you, and here comes another question for you, TJ.
Holy shit, look at this. You're asking me 2 questions in one podcast. I better get ready, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh.
When Barry Trotz is placing Zdeno Chara with Ryan Pulock, does that not make him the de facto top pair defenseman with Ryan Pulock?
I guess.
There you go.
I guess.
There you go. So you might not expect anything from him, but Barry Trotz certainly feels he's a top pairing defenseman at this stage of his career.
No. It's just like this. Certain players, when they play poorly, get promoted up the line because they want to see more performance. But when certain players struggle, like Oliver Wallstrom, we talk in Islanders cartel media, and Barry Trotz try to go ahead and spread this sort of seed of doubt, like, hey, Oliver Wallstrom, if he doesn't pick it up, he might be spending some time down with the Bridgeport Islanders, if you know what I'm saying. That's the stuff that drives me nuts, right? Zdeno Chara looks like a traffic cone. Love Big Z. Love him. Can't do it really at this stage in his career for what they're asking for him, right? But if you want to say that he's playing with Ryan Pulock, yeah, technically that means, I guess, he's your top pairing. He's one of your top pairing defensemen.
There you go. Now, let me, you mentioned Oliver Wallstrom. Who leads the team in scoring?
And goals, or scoring? Goals, Oliver Wallstrom.
Okay. And that's the guy we're threatening to send down. Okay, that makes sense.
That's
Barry Trotz in a nutshell right there. Young guy produces. You have one bad shift, bench him, send him to Bridgeport, exile him to Siberia. Go ahead, Leo. Just give him directions to your hometown.
That also is, it's Barry Trotz. That's the Islanders cartel media in a nutshell. That's the Islanders Inquirer in a nutshell, right? Oh man, Barry Trotz has said if he's not picking up his game, he better have to start doing it. And guess what? We haven't seen him pick up his game. So, just like we did with Bavillier when he was younger, we might have to send him down there to Bridgeport in order to kind of recharge his battery. And I think this would be a good move for the Islanders. Oh, wow. Terrific. Barry Trotz came out and said those things, and Oliver Wallstrom's been scoring goal. Barry Trotz is a genius. Anything they say, they just find a way to go ahead and look at the positive and bright side. I wish I could be that positive. I really do. Speaking about the positivity of the Islanders Inquirer, they happen to be very negative on one of the recent articles. I was shocked. I was aghast. I was like, oh my God, the Islanders Inquirer speaking badly or poorly about an Islander. It was Kiefer Bellows, Grumpy.
Shocked. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. It's easy to pick on a guy who plays 6 minutes a game. Really.
Right. They talked about, hey, we're announcing his time of death. Announce it now. Kiefer Bellows is dead. Ross Johnson are dead. They're not the answer. They're not the answer here. And when I hear and I look at verbiage like that, and we're saying, hey, Kiefer Bellows is not the answer. Ross Johnson is not the answer. There's a lot of players on this team that are not the answer. Zdeno Chara's not the answer. Andy Green's not the answer. Josh Bailey's not the answer. There's a lot of players that aren't the answer on this team. But hey, we still keep rolling them out there. If every single player on the team was the answer, you'd be a dynasty.
I don't think all the motor neurons are firing in that department over there. So it kind of is what it is. They'll give you whatever the company line is. That's what they do.
And I love the reasoning as to why Kiefer Bellows' career is over with the Islanders, right? Announce him dead. Here's the thing. Had a poor game. We mentioned it right off the top. Again, we'll say when we think we're wrong, and we did that ad nauseum last podcast, last Wednesday. Had a bad game Tuesday. So he gets another chance on Thursday. But because I think it was Jean-Gabriel Pageau was out sick, and they moved over Zach Parise to center, Kiefer Bellows there to left wing. Kiefer Bellows managed, what was it, 5 minutes and 50 seconds?
Just less than 6 minutes. Just less than 6 minutes.
Yeah. So, he played poorly one game, and they said, no, Kiefer, no more chances. And again, he's not the answer. He isn't the answer. That being said, I don't think Zach Parise is the answer. He's a stopgap. He's not the answer. There's a lot of people on this team that aren't the answer if we're using that as a measuring stick.
Well, I found it interesting, their verbiage in that article Sounds like exactly what I've been saying all off season. First, he has cinder blocks attached to his feet. How many times have I used that for numerous Islander players? You know, we had that little kerfluffle last week. All of a sudden, I think they've been listening to past podcasts. They're probably going, you know what? Our podcast sucks. So what can we do to make it better? Oh, let's listen to TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, because you know what? People listen to them because they're exciting to listen to. So then what do they say? Well, if it's pretty obvious that Kiefer Bellows isn't going to make it, why? Because Barry Trotz doesn't like him, and he's not going to, if Barry Trotz doesn't want to use him, it's time to move on from him. Who said that during the offseason?
We said that all off season long.
Thank you.
I'm sorry for uncontrollably laughing. Jared,
because those guys, those clowns, don't have an original thought in their head. That's why they come, they listen to us. Now they're trying to get tough all of a sudden. Why? Because people like us.
that is true. And again, I'm sorry for my laughter, Grumpy. I ran across this comment by Jared. He's cut out your head and made it the profile picture and says TJ. I'll let you read that one. I literally could not stop laughing. I rolled across this. Never would I ever have thought somebody would clip your or my head and put that as a little profile.
I don't know how to do any of that shit because I'd love to know how.
TJ, you're bowling grump. Stop trying to control the Almighty One and how he speaks. Thanks. Oh, Jared,
Yeah.
I love the clipped picture.
You know, but here's the thing. We know the Islander media cartel, the Inquirer, we know what they're going to say. Whatever Barry wants them to say. They think they can get a job with the team. Not happening. Okay. You know what I feel? You know what you feel? What do the people feel? I'm interested what the people feel. What do the people think after today?
I think a lot of the people have same expectations as us. I mean, I think there always are some fans that, you know, no matter what, they're going to say, trust the process, trust the process. We could be 0-7. And they're going to say, trust the process, trust the process. And that's good. Sometimes you need a little bit of blind faith. Not too much, though, right? And here, I think we could take it with a grain of salt. Like I mentioned last time, we played two very, very high-quality teams, two teams that are really hot right now, two teams that are off to a great start, the Florida Panthers and the Carolina Hurricanes. Both games, we looked less than stellar, got embarrassed, in my opinion. We played against three very, very winnable opponents in the Chicago Blackhawks, the Columbus Blue Jackets, as well as the Arizona Coyotes. We took care of business like we were supposed to, came in with 5 points in those 3 games. That's exactly what we were supposed to do. I always look, the measuring stick games for us are when we play against top caliber teams. That's what I want to see, right? Because in the playoffs, it's all about making it to the playoffs and how we look in the playoffs. It's really early yet in the season. There's a lot of moving and shaking that's going to happen at the trade deadline. Again, we're only 5 games into the season, but I always like looking against those teams that are going to be playoff caliber teams and how we look in those measuring stick games. Because remember, going into this year, how many fans and how many people, pundits said, hey, we're announcing time of death for the Pittsburgh Penguins. This year, they're going to finish 6th or 7th. They're going to finish maybe 5th, right? They're going to fall off the edge of the earth. The Pittsburgh Penguins, without Chris Letang, without Malcolm, without Crosby, have been freaking fantastic this year.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Who was the one pundit who fought back against that?
One? Don't brand yourself as doing. When I said the same thing.
Me. Not you. You picked them not to make the playoffs. I picked them to make the playoffs. I just said, I can't believe. And the same thing with Washington. How you just, they're a year older. They're going to fall off the cliff. I'm like, okay, we've gotten older than they are. And somehow we're going to win division. And these teams come out on a roll. And their coaches are just as good as our coach. Let's be honest, right? And here's the thing. What was the advantage for Pittsburgh today? They actually steamrolled whoever they played 7-1. I don't know who it was. Tristan Jarry was out, so that makes them even more formidable.
Oh,
they're missing another couple of wingers too because of COVID protocols. It seems like the more guys off that team, the better they get. I don't know how they do it.
They beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 7-1.
That's it. Yeah.
Man, oh man, I tell you, Toronto. Hey, you know that is a tough division. Well, let me say, Grumpy, I did predict. I think Pittsburgh to finish 4th or 5th. I mean, I was not picking them 6th, 7th like some people. I didn't expect them to fall off the earth, right? The Rangers have come out of the gates good. I mean, hey, it's going to be a long year. It's a marathon. That's the best way to put it. Jonathan Michelangelo says Jean-Gabriel Pageau looked sick and Bailey didn't deserve the goal to begin with.
True. It would have been a shame if they gave Bailey a goal. I don't even like to give him credit for the goals that he scores. I actually think, actually his shooting style is something like a junk ball pitcher in baseball. They're used to seeing, guys throwing 100 miles an hour all the time and guys shooting the pucks 110 miles an hour. And then Josh Bailey shoots his at like 31 on a good day. 31. It's like, oh, what the hell is this? It looks like a butterfly coming at me because it's fluttering all over the place. But we don't have to see that too often, thank goodness, during the year.
Well,
so he still has 0 goals for the year, right?
Yes.
And if we extrapolate that over the course of a season, like the Isles Inquirer likes to do, that would be 0 goals for the year. Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah, Grumpy. Hey, if we use that math, Islanders aren't scoring a single goal the rest of or Josh Bailey's not scoring a single goal the rest of the season, Grumpy.
You know what? I take that to Vegas almost. The over and under for Josh Bailey goals this year, what, 15, 10, 10?
If it's under 20, I'd take it. So
he's never scored 20 his whole career, ever.
I know. Ariel C said Bailey is atrocious. Char's a 7-foot traffic stone. Wallstrom looks good though.
Yeah. I think here's the thing. Wallstrom didn't look as good today as he did the previous games because Pajot, I still don't think, like Jonathan Michael said, I think he was still a little bit under the weather. He wasn't his normal self. He drives the third line, right? Parise, he's the Josh Bailey of that line, just the sidecar. That's what he is. But he's a better version of Josh Bailey, though. Let's be honest. At $750,000 a year, he's better than Josh Bailey making $5 million.
I just want to make sure I'm hearing this. You're thinking the value per the contract that Zach Parise is on is a better value than Josh Bailey?
Josh Bailey's not even worth a plug nickel.
A what nickel?
A plug nickel.
What the hell is that? A plug nickel?
A plug nickel.
What is that?
Look it up.
Is that from like the 80s or what is that from?
No, it's from way before the 80s. It's like way, way, way back. Like a nickel, like with a hole punched through a plug nickel.
Oh man, Grumpy.
What I'm saying is Josh Bailey's nowhere near worth the money that he's getting paid. Not even close.
Here we go. A plug nickel.
He is. See, with the nickel with a hole in it. Plug nickel.
Huh. Fair enough. Looky there, Grumpy. These are very valuable these days.
I think sure they're not around anymore. I had some old coins. I mean, really good stuff. Silver dollars, all silver from like 1800s. I don't know where they are now. Probably got stolen from my miserable kids or something. I don't know. But we had so many of those that we kept for years and years and years. I don't know where they are now. Maybe they're in a safety deposit box somewhere. I'll have to check it out. But I know they're worth some money now.
But plug nickels. Fair enough, Grumpy. I learned something today. Tony Cheese said, Tony's hot take of the day, in order to win games, you have to score more goals than the other team. And that's what the Islanders did tonight.
True. That is the bottom line. Tony, you bottom lined it for us right off the top.
Yeah, absolutely. John V saying Bailey is garbage. He couldn't even score himself or didn't even score himself, had to shoot it off of Brock's skate.
And Chikrin's stick. Chikrin was, my gosh. Ugh. He's a -9. They're like, oh my gosh, that's horrendous. I'm like, you realize Josh Bailey's a -5 and he plays half the minutes that Chikrin does? Butch. -5. Josh Bailey was a -5.
The Arizona Coyotes, just take this into account. The Arizona Coyotes have played 5 games this year and have surrendered 25 goals.
This was their best defensive performance was tonight. The lowest goals that they gave up previously was 5.
And that was to the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah. And they've only scored 8 goals in 5 games. They suck.
Oh, no. Grumpy. That's wrong. I just looked it up here. They did give up. They only conceded 2 goals against the Buffalo Sabres. So that is incorrect. They give it up 8 to the Blue Jackets, 2 to the Sabres, 7 to the Blues, 5 to the Oilers, and then 3 to us.
Okay. Here's the thing. Bottom line, it's not very good. And they've only scored 8 goals. That's Islander-like. That's Josh Bailey-like.
Stop. You're being ridiculous right now, Grump.
That's true.
Here's the thing, too. It's early on in the season. I will be interested to see how we play against a decimated Vegas Golden Knights team. we usually do historically very well on the second half of back-to-back games. And right now, I think it is worth mentioning. I'm not going to be one of those guys. I'm just mentioning it to mention and put it on the record. I'm not going to be making it the headline of our podcast and putting it all over the place. The Islanders are on a 3-game point streak, but the Islanders are on a 3-game point streak. It'd be nice to see if we can build off of that going against a Vegas Golden Knights team, and hopefully we can win the second half of the back-to-back.
Yeah. It would be nice. I don't see it happening. I just don't like how we're playing. We're turning the puck over too much. And against a team like Arizona or Chicago, or to even a lesser extent Columbus, it's not going to hurt you as much as going up a team that has some offensive skill up front. That's going to kill you. Remember how bad Sorokin was? The first 2 games, he's brutal, terrible. Well, you know what? The defense tightened up a little bit, or was it the fact that we're playing lesser competition, which makes him stand out a little bit more? I mean,
I'm gonna say it's a little bit of a mix of both, right? Because you look at that now, all of a sudden, Sorokin's save percentage is a 916, looks a lot better. And the first few games we played, everybody's Sorokin's got to steal one, Sorokin's got to do this, Sorokin's got to do that. Sorokin stole one when we were playing earlier on this week against Chicago, stood on his head, and unfortunately wasn't able to keep the shutout. And I think he did an admirable job against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Played well as well against the Arizona Coyotes tonight. That being said, when his defense leaves him high to dry and leave him out there to dry, I mean, it's tough for him to put up video game-esque numbers when the defense is not doing the job. It's all about how does the defense gel? How does the defense continue to move forward?
The whole team is predicated on team defense, gap control, not turning the puck over, not beating yourself. We are continuing, even though we haven't lost these games, we're doing things that enable other teams to beat us because we're in fact beating ourselves. When we stop doing that, we're going to be way better, and I'll feel much more confident as the season goes on when that happens.
Is it weird to say, Grumpy, this is probably the first time in the 3 years, or this is technically the 4th year Trotz has been here. This has been the first time in the 4 years since Trotz has been here that I'm more worried about items that we need to work out regarding making sure we've got crisp passes and don't turn the puck over in neutral zone, and what we do on the defensive side of the puck as opposed to the offensive side of the puck. I feel confident in our team's offensive depth. As weird as that may sound to you, Grumpy old man, I do feel confident in the offensive depth we have. I feel more concerned right now with the defensive depth we have.
I think our offense is the same it's been the last 3 years. I don't think it's changed at all.
I think we're going to continue to see Oliver Wallstrom take steps forward. I think Oliver Wallstrom is a shoo-in for 20, 25, maybe 30 goals this year. Playing on a third line, mind you. I think 20, 25 goals is very attainable for him. Do you not agree?
I'm glad you stopped. You didn't say 30 again.
20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 40, 40. Do I hit 55? 55 goals. 55 goals for Oliver Wallstrom this year.
Okay, but you're seeing other guys' production drop. I mean, Brock Nelson's probably not going to score close to 30 goals this year. He doesn't look like the same player out there.
We're going to see better production out of Matt Barzal and Anders Lee. Matt Barzal is going to put more points. I told you he's going to be close to. I really feel like he's going to be close to a point a game player this year, because remember last year he was playing almost the entire season or better half of 40 games and then playoff games with only one line mate.
Well, that's what he's playing with now. The other guy just stands in front of the net. I can't remember last time I see Anders Lee going into a corner. He's late getting there. I mean, it's Palmieri and Barzal going into the corners. Have you not noticed? I have. And today,
Palmieri has. I think Palmieri's. The thing is, Palmieri wins a lot of those battles along the teams too. And that's, remember when we talked about who is a better fit. That's another reason why Palmieri is a better fit than Jordan Eberle. That's not Jordan Eberle's game.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Wouldn't you love to see Wallstrom on that line, as opposed to Anders Lee, who just stands in front of that? Wallstrom shoots the puck. You dig it out, he shoots the puck. Or how about Anthony Beauvillier? Another guy who's not afraid to go into a corner and has speed. I mean, I think that would be a really good line. You'd have to worry about them every single shift. Now, it's, Barzal, the totem pole, and, Ghostbusters Afterlife on the other wing.
Who's that?
Josh Bailey, just invisible. Slimer, whatever. You remember Slimer? He's the hot dogs. You know what his name is.
Slimer. I know you endearingly compared me to Slimer. I do recall, Grumpy. It's funny. I made that comment. I said, on Twitter, I said, isn't it funny though that Josh Bailey has a poor string of games and we promote him to the first line? Andy Francis, friend of the show, he's come on the show before, Grumpy, as you remember. He said, well, Matt Barzal should be used to that. He played all of last year and all of the playoffs with only one line mate.
Back to the helicopter line.
Back to the helicopter line. Oh, goodness gracious. But here's the thing. Realistically, with Kyle Palmieri on that first line, we're going to see a lot of production out of the first line this year. I feel like I can confidently say the first line will be better than they were even 2 years ago when Eberle, Lee, and Matt Barzal were healthy. You will see better production out of the first line this year.
I hope so. I hope so. So far, even though they haven't put up a bunch of points, I like what I've seen from them.
Absolutely.
I will say that.
Let me ask you this. Have you liked what you've seen out of the third line? Do you think the third line looks better and more competent than they have in the past?
When Pajot is healthy, that line is good. I don't think it matters who the left wing is. I don't think Parise's done really much of anything. That line is Wallstrom and Pajot. And I will say, Parise is better than whoever else you were putting out there, but that line goes as Pajot goes. He drives that line, and Wallstrom has upped his game. His skating is better. His compete level is better. He's still unconscious when he shoots the puck. He's not afraid to shoot the puck. So that line should step up. The fourth line, whatever. I like Cal Clutterbuck. Right now, he seems like he's on a burner. So, keep feeding him. It was another night. Well, okay. That's a goal the goalie boy should have stopped today. I'm sorry. You can't get beat by that shot. This isn't the Czech B League here. This is the NHL.
Now, I will say, good news, Grumpy. Robin Salo has looked really good. Again, it's Bridgeport, and today was Bridgeport's first win. Robin Salo's looked really good down there in Bridgeport, too. Remember we said we see glimpses. He needed to work on a few things down there in Bridgeport first. We always have him as an option too, 20, 25 games into the regular season. If we're still seeing these struggles on the defensive end, and I think those are not going away. So I guess the contingency plan was get Robin Salo some major minutes down there in Bridgeport. And then when he's ready, 20, 25 games in, we can elevate and promote him to the NHL roster. I'm hoping this is the case. And then maybe at the NHL trade deadline, you're looking also to go ahead and add a top 4 left-handed defenseman if the Salo experiment isn't exactly what they want.
Do you know how many points he has this season, Salo?
I think he's got a goal and assist through 5 games, but I'll have to pull that.
What's his plus minus as a defenseman?
I couldn't tell you off the top.
Okay. So he has more points than our vaunted former first-round draft pick who plays on the first offensive line on the team, Casper Holmstrom. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. You want to know why he's producing? He has talent. That's why he's producing. You know who's not producing? Casper Holmstrom. Why? He doesn't have any talent. He's got Josh Bailey-like talent, which is none at all.
Robin Salo. Think about this. Robin Salo. The Bridgeport Islanders only have 1 win. They're 1-2-2. So they're losing games on a pretty consistent basis. It was a much-needed win there for them tonight. That being said, 5 games, 1 goal, 1 assist, and he's a +1. Again, plus minus isn't everything. But I've again, from what I've seen, out of the highlights and the snippets, I've liked what I've seen out of Robin Salo. I liked what I saw of him in the preseason. That's a guy who can step up for us, I feel like, sometime this year.
Will Barry give him a chance, though? That's the whole thing. He's loath to give young guys ice time. He just is. Even if they're better players.
Yeah. REC said, what up, Grump? Splitting apart Pelech and Pulak may work against the Coyotes, but not against fast teams. It's time Barry gives Chara a rest tomorrow and calls up Salo.
Not going to happen. I'm not opposed to not calling Salo up, like we just discussed earlier. He needs to get big ice time, get familiarized, and someone's going to have to vouch for him because Barry won't put him in the lineup just because, well, I don't care what he does in Bridgeport. He's not 35 years old. How could he be any good? So I think it's good to see him get big ice time down in Bridgeport, win, lose, or draw. I'm glad his plus minus is on the plus side, considering they've been giving up way more goals than they've been scoring, honestly. And, hopefully by midseason, if we do what I think we should do, we incorporate him in there for the stretch run. We're going to need him at the end of the year. even if it's at the expense of losing a couple of games early.
REC also said the second line got much better tonight at the cost of the first line, though. And I think that's accurate. I think the second line did play better tonight because you put Palmieri on the second line. Again, I think Palmieri's played really, really good hockey, right? 5 games. He's not lighting up on a score sheet. I think 5 games, 3 assists. I thought he's been playing very good hockey. I think Anthony Beauvillier, nice little deke there for the goal today. I think Brock Nelson's looked good. Not great, but I think he's looked good.
No, he's been terrible this year, too. He's been that whole line's been terrible. Why? Because Anthony Beauvillier drives that line. And if he's not playing well, that line doesn't play well. What happens when you put Kyle Palmieri in there? He has the same type of influence that Anthony Beauvillier does. He jump-started that line today. What's the big common denominator when something doesn't work? Is it Kyle Palmieri? Is it Anthony Beauvillier? Is it Brock Nelson? Is it Matt Barzal? Is it Anders Lee? No. It's number 12. He's the reason why lines don't perform well.
Yeah, Andrew L. Again, we share the same exact sentiment. What in the actual freak did
double hockey sticks?
What in the actual hell did Trotz think putting Bailey on the first line was going to do? I really think he was just hoping to start up, hopefully he get a goal, get a lucky chance, or get a wide open opportunity. Maybe Matt Barzal can create some space for him. Josh Bailey can get a goal, get the proverbial monkey off his back, start feeling a little bit more confident, and then they could put him back on that line. I don't think Trotz wants to play Josh Bailey long-term on the first line. I really think this is just trying to get them a different look, trying to get the creative juices flowing.
I don't know who got the game puck at the end of the game.
Who's that?
Harry goes out there with his glasses and he goes, I want to give the game puck to Josh Bailey. Josh, that was a hell of an assist out there.
It was a primary assist, though. It was a primary assist, Grumpy.
Well, Chychrun gets the primary assist. It was off his skate and then off of
Stop.
Yeah, Noah Dobson. And you know what? Noah Dobson got a couple of Bailey assists, I know, recently.
Noah Dobson looked better tonight. Again, this is the Arizona Coyotes, right? We talked about how much of a step forward does Noah Dobson need to take. I think Noah Dobson looked better. It's against the Arizona Coyotes, so take it with a grain of salt. I think he looked better, though, tonight. We talked about how far forward Noah Dobson needs to step up his game in order for the defense to continue to improve. We need to start seeing what we saw tonight out of Noah Dobson on a consistent basis.
Yeah. Agreed.
Jason C. said, the Islanders win.
That's it. Jason knows.
Grant Hakeem said, hey, guys, we were so close to a Bailey goal, but not a great performance tonight. Got the 2 points. Got to get a point at least tomorrow, you think?
If we get a point tomorrow, I'll be ecstatic. I will. That's a step up because Vegas is a step up in competition. We're not playing, St. Mary Sisters of the Poor tomorrow. That's who we played the last 3 games. And we came out of 5 out of 6. Good. If we come out with a point tomorrow, I'm happy, honestly. I think that's a win for the Islanders, getting a point against Vegas tomorrow.
So I think it is worth mentioning, right? They are without Max Pacioretty. They're without Mark Stone. And I believe Alec Martinez is also, he's day-to-day. So he didn't play Friday, so I'm not sure if he's going to play on Sunday against us. But they're without 3. I mean, think about it. Alec Martinez is a top 4 defenseman. Mark Stone, captain, top line guy. Max Pacioretty, another top 6 winger. So they're a little banged up right now, and they're off to a poor start this season. I think this game means a lot for the Vegas Golden Knights, and I think if the Islanders win tomorrow, fantastic.
And I think Vegas played yesterday, so they got an extra day's rest. Or Thursday. I don't remember.
They played Friday. I just said they played Friday.
So we're coming in. We're traveling from where are we tonight? Oh, Arizona. It's not that far from Arizona to Vegas. I heard this one's already in the rearview mirror. So I'm looking ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So no big deal. Go.
Michael B. said, Ladd still sucks. Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm glad that Ladd's in a situation where he can play again. That you talk about a soldier, you talk about a guy who really went through some lumps. Again, the guy's still on the tail end of his career. I'm happy he's still getting another chance in the NHL. You could tell, the Arizona Coyotes are a ragtag team. They're going to be the worst team in the NHL. I'm glad we were able to take care of business against the worst team in the NHL. That's what you have to do. I'll be honest. If teams lose, and especially playoff caliber teams lose to the Arizona Coyotes, it would be a loss to where the coach would come in and said, we're going to be beating the hell out of you. Sprints, gassers at the end of practice. We're going to be skating suicides. It would be, they would read them the riot act. You couldn't. You can't. I mean, again, this is one of those items. As the season progresses, you can't afford to lose to the worst team in the NHL.
True. And we didn't. So thank goodness. I was thinking, gosh, if we lost, particularly watching that first period, I'm like, man, if we lose to this team, the wheels are going to come off on the podcast today. I know they will. But we didn't. So there you go. Because Arizona's horrible, hideous.
Rob L said, Grumpy is too negative. They won 3-0. We won 3-0. This is a negative show. Rob L always chimes in to put his 2 cents in about how negative we are.
Yeah, like I said, I'm glad we got the 3 points. I'm just not happy with how we're playing right now because against good teams, and I always tell you the truth, against good teams, the mistakes that we're making against these lesser teams are going to come back to haunt us, like they did against Carolina, like they did against Florida, like they did against the Rangers in the last exhibition game. That's when I said to you, I said, I know it's just preseason, but I'm concerned with how we're playing. And, Grumpy, we turn it up and on and off like a light switch. We can do that. No, it's just preseason. It's the same thing that concerned me in the preseason. It's still concerning me now. Once we turn, and I feel we will turn it around, once we stop committing those silly turnovers in the neutral zone, in our defensive zone, we button up a little bit, we'll be fine. Until then, we could be in store for some more losses. That's all.
The neutral zone, I think, is one of those things we can iron out. The defensive side of the puck, I think that's going to be a consistent struggle all year long. But, hey, I hope I'm wrong. Now, you mentioned something to me, Grumpy, that I thought maybe had a little validity to it. You said that you feel like Scott Mayfield, and again, you're a honk for Scott Mayfield, you feel like he's been getting away with some questionable hits he's been delivering.
Without a doubt. He got away with a boarding penalty tonight. I was like, ooh. He's gotten away. The last game, he got away with 3 or 4 penalties before they finally called. Maybe it was the Chicago game. I think it was Chicago game. Before they finally called one on him. I'm like, man, Scott, remember what the rules are now. I mean, he's gotten away with quite a few infractions. Like I said, but I'm a honk for him. So anytime he gets away with it, I'm happy. He got away with one tonight, too.
Brian B. said, horrible effort. Bad effort there tonight. I think the first 2 periods were less than desirable. The third period, again, I think it was a mix between the Islanders coming out and they kind of, for the most part, for the large portion of the period, except maybe the last 3 or 4 minutes, I think we really went ahead and closed up a few items that, were kind of troubling earlier on. But even the chances that Arizona had, I wasn't really too worried about them scoring. There was that one-time opportunity that the guy hit off the heel of his stick that really could have, turned into a goal or a prime opportunity to score. But for the most part, I really didn't feel too threatened that Arizona had a lot of chances to score.
I just didn't think that they were talented enough. I mean, they had so much offensive zone time. I'm like, this is Colorado. They couldn't handle the puck. Oh.
Where was the offensive zone time, though?
In the offensive zone. Well,
it was in the U shape on the perimeter. They were playing like perimeter Pete's. How many times are we seeing drop passes and just them happy and content? And the Islanders just said, hey, we're going to play our style, the collapsing style. We're going to let you go ahead and play with it over there in the corners. We're going to let you play with it along the blue line. We don't bother with that. You can go ahead and do that all you want. And again, how often were the Arizona Coyotes cycling around just playing on the perimeter?
Often, but you got to remember their talent level is non-existent. The fact that they were even able to hold on to the puck was astounding to me. That's all.
The fact that they're able to tie their skates and get out there on the ice was astounding to you, right, Grumpy? It was mystifying.
Most of their moms were in the dressing room tying their skates in between periods.
Oh, my goodness, Grumpy. Hey, Grumpy, guess what, buddy?
What?
Guess what time it is, Grump?
Oh, is it ad time? Are you going to have to read it live?
It's another time to read the advertisement live.
Oh,
NFL fans hungry for a big week or big win this week? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, has you covered. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team and to win their game. And if they do, win $200 in free bets. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. is that simple. If Sportsbook isn't available yet in your state, DraftKings won't leave you empty-handed. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings daily fantasy sports contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code THPN and bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game. And if they do, you'll win $200 in free bets. If they win, you win with promo code THPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. You must be 21 years or older in New Jersey, Indiana, and Pennsylvania only. New customers only. A minimum of a $5 deposit is required, and a $1 wager is required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. What, Grump? Grump, you got yourself muted, Grumpy.
I'm sorry.
What the hell are you doing?
What about Indiana? Do we not care about them and their gambling problems? Did they have?
I know they usually have a special one. I don't know. It's not on. It's no longer on the ad read, but then worse.
Well, it's okay. You only made 3 slip-ups in that promo read. Pretty good.
I had to clear my throat. I should have cleared my throat, Grumpy. It was a bad performance. It was a subpar ad read. I do apologize. Brett, Let's Go Ounder said, hello, TJ and Grumpy Old Man. I'm really loving Anthony Bevillier's play this season. He's growing into a really good player.
I think he's struggled so far this year. I love Anthony Bevillier.
You think he struggled, really?
Yeah. I don't think he's been, certainly not when he's playing with Bailey and Nelson. He's the line driver for that line. When he's on the power play or he's in another situation when not playing with them, he seems much better. There are a couple of anchors around his ankles, so to speak, cinder blocks, if you will, around his feet. So I thought he played better today, but I want to see even more from him. I have big expectations for him.
The biggest thing for me for Anthony Bevillier is him working on his consistency. And I think he's been more consistent this year already. I know you say, oh, he hasn't been driving the line very much. I think he's looked good in the opportunities that have presented themselves, right? I think he got 2 goals and an assist so far in the first 5 games of the year. I'm not expecting Anthony Bevillier to put up 80, 90 points a season. If Anthony Bevillier is putting up 55, 60 points a year, I'm ecstatic. I'm elated.
Agreed.
D-Cut saying, what's up, gentlemen?
I like to say something to D-Cut. He's part of that fantastic fan group, Isles Misery Rated R.
Ugh.
That's the fan group for real Islander fans, truthful Islander fans, people who want to know the truth. Not the Gladhander fans like TJ over there. He scoffs at people like those, like me, and the rest of the boys at Isles Misery Rated R. Not me, though. I always got his back.
I love it, Grump. JK said we should try to have TJ pronounce all the towns on Long Island, such as I couldn't.
Let's see how there's only 3 of them. You should be able to get every one of them.
I know Ronkonkoma, Patchaw, and not sure about this first one.
Oh God. First of all, it's Syosset. The first one's Syosset. We talked about
Syosset. I know, Grumpy. Sorry, I wasn't familiar with Syosset. I know Ronkonkoma, Patchaw, etc. All kidding aside, TJ's a great sport with all the flack we give him.
That's true. And Patchogue.
Grumpy.
Grumpy. All that's right in my wheelhouse right there. I used to live in Oakdale. Oakdale is where I used to live.
Oakdale.
Right by Bohemia and West Sable and Sable.
John H. said, LOL, save energy for tomorrow. We're not built to destroy the crap out of the team 7-0.
True. I love his don't tread on Florida.
What a film said, late night for you guys. That's dedication. Thanks, Woodda. For certain it is. Late night. Lady.
I think Wood is on the West Coast, isn't he?
I know he's up north. I'm not sure where he is.
Well,
John M. said, Islanders need to get their act together or they're going to be in for a long season.
Yeah, I agree. And I think we will. It's just how long is it going to take? Remember, what I'm hoping isn't happening is that some of our players are stalwart guys who are in their 30s. Their game's not going to step back. That's what I hope. I hope they can at least maintain where they've been.
Gotcha. So you want to see more players maintain certain players and youth kind of take a little bit of step forward. Is that correct?
Yes. I feel for us to have any shot of going anywhere in the Stanley Cup playoffs, that has to happen. We can't have guys taking steps back right now. Cannot happen.
And I'm again, the only players I'm worried about taking a step back or a remarkable step back. Big Z has already, I mean, like he's no expectations for Big Z. And Andy Green is a guy who has taken a step back this season. I mean, those are, hey, it's all about the defense. And that's what you see. Brian B said, we just played 3 horrible teams. The defense still sucks. It does. The defense is the big issue. And that's weird, right? This is the first time Islander fans seriously look at it. We're only 5 games in, but seriously look at it. I think this is the first time we could say, I'm not too worried about the offensive production at the moment. I think that, again, getting that in order. I think the power play still has, some production left to be had. It's still not up to snuff to where we need it to be. But the defense is the biggest concern for us. It's not goaltending, never has been. I don't think it ever will be. It's not necessarily the forward group. I think it's the defense right now.
One thing I just really want to say, the last number of years under Barry Trotz, we've started the season kind of the same way, giving up a lot of goals to start the season. But then we've righted the ship. And that's what I expect to happen this year. I think why people are looking at it a little bit more under a magnifying glass, like I've been doing for years, is that they realize that the Islanders are truly all in for this year. So they don't feel they can take any of this for granted. You can't go out and start losing games that you think you should win. So maybe fans are starting to take a harder look at the team they've been willing to do in the past.
Well, I think what's happening too is people have expectations of the Stanley Cup. And when you have coaching staff, when you have management come out of Stanley Cup or bust, like Islander fans expect, right? 2 back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals. The expectations they have for the regular season and the playoffs are both higher than they have been in the past. And I do think you're right. We usually start off a little slow to start the season, but we usually, again, like as we kind of hit this groove after about game 5 or 6, that's when you usually start to see the Islanders pick up play.
Yeah, without a doubt. I don't want to see, it bothers me that it seems like we just seem slower than everybody else. I think seems like our team speed is kind of taking a little bit of a step back. It's just frustrating to watch. That's all. I still think we're going to right the ship. Like I said, I'm more interested in our style as opposed to points. I knew we were going to come away with 5 points in the last 3 games. All I want is for them to improve their team defensive structure. That's what I want to see. That's the next step.
Gotcha. D-Cut said Grumpy is going to be Josh Bailey for Halloween.
I don't want to petrify the kids. I just want to scare them.
Eve L is saying nice shutout for the whale. Big thumb.
You know what, TJ? It only took you 6 months to get his name right.
I've got Eve's first name right. I don't, again, the last name, I'm sorry. I'm not even going to try. Eve Leggin.
That's why TJ only says Eve L or, David C or Brian B. Because he can't pronounce, he can barely pronounce first names. Last names, forget, it's a crapshoot.
I'm not an order. I'm not, what can I say? I struggle with names unless I hear them a lot. Scott H saying here, line number 2 is slumping. Let's put Bailey up to the first line. WTF. What the freak?
Preaching to the choir, Scott. Preaching to the choir.
Brian G said, laugh my ass off. Bailey is one of the top players on the team. Sleepy man. Yeah, Sleepy man. He's one of the top players on the team. Yeah, it's not Brian. Come on, Brian G. Let's take an honest look at it. Even though maybe you think Josh Bailey's fantastic. Maybe you think let's say you're a huge Bailey supporter. Bailey is what he is. And on an ideal scenario, he's a second or third line winger. And guess what? He has not been off to a good start to the season. Doesn't matter how good you may think he is. He's been off to a bad start. We can all admit that, right?
Brian, put down the bong. All right. Josh Bailey is not one of the top. If Josh Bailey's one of the top players on your team is called the Arizona Coyotes. That's all I have to say about that.
And like top players on the team, right? I'd put both Varlamov and Sorokin, even though they're goalies, they're not technically skaters. I would put them as more valuable players to the club and the organization. You put Matt Barzal, I put Kyle Palmieri, I put Anders Lee, I put Brock Nelson, I put Jean-Gabriel Pageau all over him. Just when we're talking about forward. You can even make an argument maybe Oliver Wallstrom might turn himself later on at the year to a more valuable player than Josh Bailey. I think Josh Bailey has value. I'm not trying to shit on Josh Bailey. He's had a bad start to the season.
Josh Bailey,
one of the top players on the team. Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of middle of the pack.
Josh Bailey isn't even one of the top 3 players on his line.
You're ridiculous. Can we take a second to talk and give praise to Cal Clutterbuck? Can we give some praise to Cal Clutterbuck? Man, oh man,
He's been really good to start season. Really good.
Fantastic. Cal Clutterbuck has been fantastic, grumpy old man. And I'm so happy for him. Again, he's a guy we talked about. How much tread does he have left on the tires? Cal Clutterbuck has been fantastic. And again, it's all the goals he scores are all very similar. He's always skating into the zone. He's got that opposite side, he's got that opposite side foot where he goes ahead and puts that in the net. And he's got that wrister he usually puts up in the toy department. He's got 2 of those in the last 2 games.
Okay. He's been by far the best player on that fourth line. By far.
He's been better than Casey, and he's been better than Matt Martin. Again, Matt Martin's still coming back from injury, though.
He's been better than Casey and light years better than Matt Martin. That said, it's a contract year for him. So maybe he wants to get another one of those Islander Golden Watch contracts that they love to give out to those vets in their mid-30s. Maybe that's what he's playing for. Would it surprise you if they re-sign him? Wouldn't surprise me.
Man, oh man, I'll tell you. Here's the thing. It is a contract year. I will give that there for Cal Clutterbuck. But I do think when they do play well, we got to go ahead and give a mention. That's all I'm going to say, Grumpy. And this is again. Look at this.
All I'm going to say is that goalie can't get beat on the short side there. He cannot get beat on the short side there. His positioning was terrible. I mean,
and that's from the top. That's from the top of the circle. It's short side. He puts it over the shoulder. It's an excellent shot by Cal Clutterbuck.
Way out of position. Not even remotely set. He's practically, I don't know where the hell he is. I mean, and it goes through him. I'm just like, geez, that guy sucks.
It goes over his shoulder, but it's a hell of a goal. It's a hell of a goal by Cal Clutterbuck. And again, I'm going to give Cal Clutterbuck the props he deserves when he does things like that.
I think the goal he scored in the last game was better than that one.
Okay, I'm just saying
this was a good goal, but this goalie was out of position. He Tristan Jarried that puck, but the night before, man, that was a laser that he shot.
I'm saying he's been playing good hockey, not just the goals he's been scoring. I think the hockey he's been playing is good so far, 5 games in the year. We talk about certain players who are playing well, certain players who are playing poorly. I was not expecting our fourth line to come out. And again, I think a fourth line as a whole has not played fantastic. I thought they've been kind of, average, average. You know what I mean? Status quo for the most part. But I think Cal Clutterbuck has looked really good so far to start the season. It is a contract year, though, worth mentioning.
Agreed.
Gotcha. John M. also said, too many turnovers, soft giveaway, and the defense is too slow. All I'm saying, I'm saying all that. Sorokin bailed the Islanders out tonight.
I don't know about that. I don't think he was supremely tested. He made a couple. He looked really calm in net, just like he did the last couple of games. He's looked much more solid than the first 2 games, excuse me. But I don't think he had to be spectacular today. He made a nice save at the end. But I don't think he was extremely tested, certainly not like he was in Chicago or even against Columbus. So I don't think he bailed us out. I just thought Arizona was so bad that we got away with a lot of that stuff. And that's what worries me when we play better teams.
Jesus Christ, Grumpy, take yourself a drink. Holy hell, Grumpadump. Now,
Grumpadump?
I don't even know how that came out. The grumpy old man. Jim P said Palmieri's goal should have counted. What happened till playing to the whistle? That's BS. Now, here's the thing. I think that's one of those situations to where the refs screwed up and they noticed in video replay that, holy crap, he had the puck covered. We should have blown the whistle. But again, I wouldn't say that was like goalie interference. I mean, both sticks collided with the glove. There should have been an immediate whistle blown as soon as it was covered, but the refs missed it and they said, okay, we can right the wrong we made on the ice with this video replay. So they went ahead and blew it off.
That's what you see that's how the NHL has that little cover up thing, where they say, intent to blow the whistle, even though we didn't blow the whistle, it was our intent to blow the whistle. So that's how they get away with that. But yes, play to the whistle. I firmly believe it. I didn't hear a whistle. The guy did have, like I said, the amateur goaltender that they had in net today seemingly had the puck covered up. He needs to be a little bit stronger with that glove hand going forward. At the end of the day, it didn't matter, but it was nice initiative by Palmieri trying to some maybe you get away with it next time. Who knows?
Phil's Facts wanted and requested me to show you here this goal by Robin Sallow. So you can,
Phil.
yeah, it's a good one, Grumpy, because I know you don't watch any of this.
What color are our uniforms? Are they the white?
Yes, we're the Bridgeport Islanders. This is in overtime, Grumpy. So I want you to take a watch here. Again, this is a fantastic play here by Robin. Again, I thought Robin Sallow has looked fantastic so far. This is him right here, Grumpy.
Okay. Oh, nice shot. He can shoot the puck, too. Hey, there's our pal Zarnak.
Yeah, Austin Zarnak, right?
Is that John McClain?
Yeah, Durando. Okay, I'll have to just put it. I'll just run here and slow. But that again, here we go. Right, fantastic move. Whoop. Turns on the brakes. Is able to go ahead and create himself a natural screen. Gets the puck loaded. Puts it in the net. Nice goal there by Robin Sallow. He's looked fantastic so far. He looks like he's a guy who will step up and again be a contributor for the Islanders on, actually on the island for the New York Islanders. They'll be a contributor. It's weird to say now because now they're the Bridgeport Islanders too. I wish they would have kept it the Bridgeport Sound Tigers, to be quite frank, because I can't just say the Islanders anymore. He'll be a contributor on the Islanders because still the Bridgeport Islanders now. Ugh.
I just have a quick question. If you had that still up there, was that Simon Holmstrom handing out water bottles to the players in the team on the bench?
No, grumpy old man. No, Simon Holmstrom's he's on the bench. I don't see any water boy. Maybe if I roll it back a little further.
Maybe there he is behind the bench handing out water bottles to the real players.
Stop. Oh, stop, Grumpy. Hey, he's a guy, again, I wish him nothing but success because we use such a first-round pick on a guy, mid to late first-round pick. So I hope he starts turning it on, but it definitely has not been a great start to the season for him. Frank K said, don't like Bailey on the first line at all. I was in Bridgeport tonight. Sallow was 100% ready to play in the NHL. Maybe Lou can trade him for Pascal. Grumpy, I'll let you pronounce that last name.
Rion.
Pascal Rion.
I don't think so. I don't even think Lou would do that. I'm glad Frank was in Bridgeport. Not that I like Frank being in Bridgeport, but I like someone who has eyes on what Sallow's really doing. I do like that.
Joe said, cool you guys to come on this late. Nice. Well, thanks, Joe. I do appreciate it. Jared Ben said, Jared Ben, the doppelganger to the grumpy old man. I love how he's got the smirk of the grumpy old man, too. Grumpy doesn't smile all that often, but he's got that smirk, mid-smirk. He said, just make sure you turn off the lights when the ref blows the final whistle.
Yes, I made that comment earlier. Mm-hmm. I do smile quite often, honestly. I don't like being attacked by you, TJ. I don't think it's right.
I just love that he's got the image of grumpy old man. Robert G said, Wallstrom must be moved to the third line.
That's where he is now.
Yeah, unfortunately. Brendan M said here, I think Barry just lets them play the way they want with a minimal direction for the first 4 or 5 games of the year. This creates a lot of tape for the video room. Then he uses this evidence to support the use of the Barry system to get everyone on board or to get them back in line.
You know what? That's a pretty good take.
I was about to say, I like the idea. I'm not sure necessarily, to get them on board, because I think a lot of players buy in, but I do think maybe, I don't know. It's an interesting take.
Yeah, it's not true because he's such a control freak. To think that he's letting guys freelance, no.
That'd be like thinking if Bill Belichick would be letting guys freelance. I just don't think. Yeah. I don't think that Barry Trotz would do it. But I like the thought process.
I do too. I think it's a fantastic take. Honestly, it's really good.
This would be some stuff that we'd be thinking of, like, hey, what if this was also an option?
I might take credit for that. So
No. We're giving Brendan credit for that. If that's the case,
Bristol is not Brendan. Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing your names, but
you certainly are.
I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name.
It's Breniane. I don't know.
Breniane. There we go.
I don't know what it is. Mr. B.
Mr. B is the new name I'll refer to you as there.
I'm not going to say Mr. BM. That's just wrong.
Fair enough. I don't know what you're saying there, but gotcha. Frank K.
will clue you in later down the line, I'm certain.
Frank K. said, Wallstrom will never be on the first line with this regime. Stephanie Richer.
It's Stefan Richer. He called him Stephanie because that's, call him Stephanie. It's Stefan Richer.
Stephon Richer, who's retired, has a better shot to play on the first line.
He had a good shot.
Oh,
He did have a good shot.
Robert G corrected himself, said Wallstrom must be moved to the first line, period. Bench Bailey for Bellows. Enough. I'm not so sure I get on with that. Again, I think Bailey's definitely a better option than Bellows.
You know what? How would you even know? How would you even know? He's never gotten a shot, a legit shot to play. Never. Sporadic game here or there. That's not a legitimate shot.
Brandon Frey said, can't disagree more than everything being said. I'm not sure. That was earlier on from the podcast. I'm not sure. Grumpy. Joe also said, I agree with Grump. This 3-0 score doesn't tell the story. The Islanders are playing like garbage.
I'm not saying they're playing like garbage, but they need to tighten their game up, or they're going to be in trouble against the better teams. You can beat the little teams. How are you going to do against the good teams? Because if you're truly a Stanley Cup contender, you're going to have to beat the good teams. So far, whenever we play good teams, we've gotten rolled. So that's not good. And we need to tighten our game. The turnovers is what's killing us. We never usually beat ourselves. And I know TJ say the bend don't break, but when you're turning the puck over in your zone, giving teams extra opportunities, or turning it over in the neutral zone, that leads to more high danger area chances. And that's what I worry about.
Again, I do believe where the bend don't breaks out. Anytime you turn a puck over, that does not bode well for success. That is for certain. Frank K said Parise needs to go. I disagree with that. I think Parise, for the role that we have him in, is more than suitable for what he's doing out there at the ice. I think Parise, for the third line left winger, is doing an admirable job.
Yeah, he's not a difference maker, but he's not a problem out there. He's been okay.
I was about to say, when you look at guys who've been problem areas or guys who just look like, hey, I need more out of you, Zach Parise is not a name that comes to mind.
Yeah, I'm not disappointed with what he's given. If they start putting him on the first line, I'd have a problem with that. But on the third line, and he's only making $750 per. I don't know how many bonuses they gave him. But, for
I think they gave him the bonus. So, hey, if you play a certain amount of games, they also give you another $750K of a bonus. I'm not sure what the game amount is, but that's going to be, I'm sure, put on next year's cap.
Yeah, I don't like giving them too much money for that, for just showing up. Was that the Josh Bailey bonus? You just show up and you get a bonus. That's the Bailey bonus.
Stop the Bailey bonus. Paul O.C. said, yes, Grumpy, I like Palmieri on the second line with Beauvillier and Nelson. Put Bailey on the third line with Pajot is kind of weak. He was just saying it would kind of drag down.
It would, because any line that Josh Bailey is on is going to be a weak line. That's why I wanted Tarasenko and move out for Josh Bailey.
It's funny you said that. REC said this a while back. I said Bailey on any line is kind of weak.
It's the truth. Yes. Thank you, Ari.
Frank K said Holmstrom actually had an assist tonight. Time to put him on the first line and to ruin it.
That leads me to something. The Kraken had their first game tonight.
First home game.
Yeah, first home game. And do you know what they did? They retired a number, if you can believe that.
Hold on. What number did they retire? 99? Because Gretzky's numbers retired across the league?
32.
Why? Oh, it's the 32nd team in the NHL?
Because they're the 32nd team, and they had 3,200 or 32,000 people do something, say they like the Kraken. Who the hell even knows? So we retired the number 32. You know what? If that's not typical of today, you have a number retired where nobody ever played for your team. Think about that.
I don't get the retiring of that. Maybe there's also a Grumpy. I'm willing to say that maybe you're missing a few of the finer points and detail on that one because you have in the past. I'm not guaranteeing it, but it is odd for them to retire a number.
It's on NHL.com. They did it. I looked at it because I couldn't believe it. 32 has been retired by the Kraken. You know what? What a moron. What a loser that owner is.
Well, the Kraken right now are 1-4-1. I promise you, they're not going to be a darling like the Vegas Golden Knights were right off the bat. The Seattle Kraken are going to be bad. I'm not sure who's going to be worse. It probably would be the Arizona Coyotes will be worse than the Seattle Kraken, right?
I think so. Arizona's like a sub expansion team.
Jim P also said no Mark Stone, no Pacioretty, and no Alec Martinez probably there for the Vegas Golden Knights. Still, we probably lose.
I just care how we play. to me, it's how we play. Are we buttoning up? If we lose 2-1 or 1-0, okay. If we get beat 5-1 or 6-1, obviously our issues are still there. I care how we play. That's what I'm looking for, particularly against the teams that are a little bit better. You can get away with it against the lesser teams, but against the teams that are pretty good or playoff caliber teams, how are you looking against them? Is your style in place? Is your structure in place? That to me is the biggest concern.
Robert G said the team needs to dig more in the corners. No grit. They are very far off of the end from last year. They're very far off from the end of last year. Hope the play in the corners improves.
It seems like other teams, their defensemen are getting into the corners quicker and getting the pucks out quicker. That's the way the NHL is going.
I feel like sometimes also we are being a little bit too methodical with the puck in our own zone and too methodical with the puck on the boards instead of taking that urgency. Again, that's one of those things that we can write. I'm not too worried about that long term, right? As you get more and more comfortable, as you get more and more to the swing of the season, quicker passes off the boards, no longer, lollygagging or, dallying with the puck around the boards too. So getting that puck out there quick.
Yeah. We're not a great skating team on whole. So I think we have to be a little bit more deliberate. There's only one guy on the whole team who really is a creator skating, just one guy. Got a couple other guys who have some speed. Palmieri has looked good, Pajot, and Bavillier. That's about it. Four guys on all our forwards who can skate.
What a film said, I'd rather see Hickey than Chara. He's a big guy, but he can't even take a hit. He falls 3 or 4 times a game with minimal contact. Retire.
Yeah, he was this O'Brien kid, Shane O'Brien, was running him all night long.
Think about that. And I'll be honest with you. Remember when we said Matt Martin is no longer a fighter? I know that O'Brien kid, that's his job, right? He's played 21 games. He's been in 7 fights. That's a guy's job. Go out there and fight, every other night, once every 3 nights. Try to bring some energy to the Arizona Coyotes game. If we're going to look miserable on the offensive and defensive side of the puck, we got to give them a reason to come there. So just, massive physicality and, the brutality of the sport. But, man, that was just kind of just a little, what do they call it? A bear fight. Wasn't much done with that. Wasn't a great fight there by Martin or the O'Brien guy, just kind of wrestling.
Well, Martin's had 2 fights the last 2 games.
I know. I was about to say he might have more fights this year in a short, than he did last 2 seasons. So I'll be interested to see how often he fights.
Sure.
That is odd because he hasn't fought as many times as, in this advanced stage of his career. And again, he's missed the first few games too, which is also odd. Frank K said Islanders could have used Dougie Hamilton or Ryan Graves type of player. Well,
yeah, they cost money though.
We didn't have the cap. I was about to say we don't have the space for that guy.
Yeah. Doug Hamilton would have been nice.
Michael T said a vegetation killer. Laughing my ass off.
That's what he is. A big skull and crossbones instead of the number 12. He's like the Bermuda Triangle of offensive lines. They just disappear when he shows up.
Offensive chances and opportunities. Andrew said Lee, Barzal, Palmieri, Pavillier, Nelson, Wallstrom, Parise, Pajot, Bailey, Clutter, Cizikas, and Matt Martin.
See, just Bailey's just a drain on the lineup, isn't it? What's the one line that just seems really out of place? It's Bailey. Wouldn't you like to have Tarasenko, have him on the front on the first line? Then you could put Palmieri on the second line with Nelson and Bavillier. And then you have Parise, Pajot, and Wallstrom. And then you got 3 lines ready to cook right there. I'd like that. Right now, they're a winger short. They're a scoring winger short.
Well, I can tell you that, the St. Louis Blues have no reason or rush to trade Vladimir Tarasenko. The Blues are off to a freaking magma hot start. And Tarasenko, right? 4 games played, a goal and 2 assists. So
he's right back to how many points did Josh Bailey have?
He's got 2 assists.
Any goals?
No. Oh, well, here's okay. Come on. Bailey brings different things to the table than Tarasenko does. Tarasenko brings different things to the table than Josh Bailey does.
I will say one thing. I guarantee you that Tarasenko is probably 4 times as many shots on goal as Bailey does. That much I will tell you.
Yeah.
He shoots the puck at least 6-7 times a game.
Yes, different mentalities.
Bailey won't even take a shot at the bar.
They come out and they say, "Hey, rounds of fireball shots on us." You think you're saying Josh Bailey passes up? He says, "No, I'm not about taking shots."
Pass it right down the line. Give it to grandma. Too much for me.
Here you go, Brock Nelson. Take this shot for me.
Yeah,
Here
it'll
you go,
turn your hair white.
Here you go, Anthony Pavilion. Take this shot for me. Yeah. REC says Hickey can't skate. They have no one that can skate the puck past the blue line. We need Salo to come in and see what happens. This is the beginning of the season. Why not try Salo? I think realistically they want to go ahead and get him really big minutes there in Bridgeport, and kind of hopefully towards the middle of the season, maybe probably about a third of the way in the season. That's when I'd like to see Robin Salo up there in the NHL.
You have Noah Dobson who can skate the puck out of the zone. But yes, they need someone else without a doubt. It's not Pulak's or Pellick's strength or Mayfield, and it's certainly not the two fossils they have back there.
Okay. Paul O.C. said, Grumpy, relax. We beat the teams weaker than us in 2 games, and we outscored them 7 goals, 1 goal allowed.
Well, Columbus is worse than us too. All right. They're supposedly the worst team in our division or close to it, and they beat us 3-2. I mean, you can't cherry pick games. I mean, I predicted 5 points. That's what we got. I thought Chicago would be the team that we draw against. I didn't realize how bad Chicago was either. But then you lose to Columbus, So I guess it's 1-4.
Brian B said, Bobby the Brain,
Bobby the Brain who, TJ?
Jesus Christ, Grumpy. Your connection, and it seems like you're lagging behind today.
Bobby the Brain who? What's his name? Bobby the Brain who?
I don't know.
Heenan. Bobby the Brain Heenan. Wrestling manager.
Cool. I don't know the wrestling manager, Bobby the Brain. Sorry. That's where you are, Grumpy. That's your job. You know those references. I do not. Noah W. said, I think Parise looked pretty good. His skating isn't as bad as you made it seem, Grumpy old man.
He's been okay. When Pajot and Wallstrom are skating hard, he lags behind. If they're not skating well, like I think Pajot is off today, he looks okay. I still don't think he's a great skater, but he has not been a bust. He has not been a bust. I was wrong. I thought he was going to be a bust. He's not been a bust. He's put up no points, but I wouldn't qualify him as a bust.
Grumpy old man recanting Zach Parise, not a bust.
True.
Looky there. John P. said, Grumpy old man, due to supply chain issues, your Eastern New Mexico gear will get into the first or the second week of November, according to the provider.
Thank you, John. And there's a new picture. Looks like John is fishing.
He's got some leisure going on. We don't see him dressed up in his academic garb.
Yeah, looks like somebody's taking that picture, not just him. It's not a selfie, I don't think.
Andrew L. said, where was this?
Thank you, by the way, John. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, John. Absolutely. Andrew L. said, where has this Clutterbuck snipe show been for the past years? Now, he's always excelled in that type of shot, and I just think that, he's hot right now.
Yeah, he's streaky too. When he starts scoring, he can score goal, not in Bavilier bunches, but he can get hot, certainly at certain times. He scored 4 goals last year. He's already got 2 this year. That's like, if you try to divide it by how many goals that Josh Bailey has, it's like the infinity sign, better than Josh Bailey.
Tony G said, traveled from Boston and back home to Queens and got to watch the Islanders game with my dad for the first time in over a year. Tried to put him on to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast, but it's a little too late for him, and he fell asleep.
Hey, that's okay. Just, your dad can listen on Wednesdays. We can hook him up. Don't you worry about it. And you know what? It's fantastic that you got to watch a game with your dad. That's great. I love it.
Absolutely. Brad C said, what's the status of Varlamov? Kind of thought he would at least dress as the backup by now. Brennan didn't mention him as an option for tomorrow night's game either. I think ideally they want to maybe have him ready for, not this Sunday, but next Saturday's game.
What's the urgency to rush him back if he's still a little bit dinged up? There's no urgency. Sorokin's not been the problem for this team. He should have had, 2 shutouts in the last 3 games, honestly, if the defense didn't fall asleep at the end. I mean, It doesn't matter to me. I could care less if Varlamov even plays. Sorokin, I'm all in on Sorokin.
Yeah.
Pushing those chips to the table.
Pushing those chips to the table. Hey, Sorokin, I think, again, has not been the issue. I thought he's looked good, and I think he's still an elite caliber goalie. When the defense leaves him out and hangs him out to dry, I don't expect him to look like Patrick Waugh out there. That's for certain. Brandon Frey says Bellows is not playable. He isn't playable here.
Well, that's what Barry seems to think. You get 6 minutes a night. I don't know how much. I don't know what to expect. What do you expect from a player who gets 6 minutes a night and you rip him because he plays 6 minutes a night? How many shifts is that in a game? 10? I mean, over the course of a game, maybe 10? I mean, what do you expect a guy to show?
Bellows isn't the answer. I think Bellows is a guy who can maybe be a stopgap. His skating is not great, that's for certain. That being said, I feel like the depth is there. He does not have a future on his team. So if he has any value, trade him.
But we knew that. Here's the thing. He never had a future. As soon as Barry Trotz and Lou Lamoriello came over here, Kiefer Bellows didn't have a chance to play on this team because he was drafted by another regime and they simply refused to play any of those players.
That's not true. That's just not true.
It is true.
It's not true. It's not true.
Name one rookie who's come up and played who was drafted by anybody other than those two guys.
Sorokin.
Okay, but Sorokin was signed by Lou. He wasn't
Robin Salo is going to be one of those guys too.
Okay. No. I'm not saying in the future. I'm saying right now. Thank you.
Sorokin. Sorokin is one of those guys.
Okay, but he wasn't even signed by the team. I'm talking about an actual player, not a goalie. I'm talking about a player.
A skater?
Yes, a skater.
I'm telling you, Sorokin's a guy. You're going to see Robin Salo being one of those guys too.
Okay, what are you running for office? Who on the team currently was a draft pick from a skater who was drafted by a previous regime, who wasn't part of the team when they started?
You're going to drive me
nuts. On the farm system. Name one guy.
You're going to drive me nuts, Grumpy.
None. There is none. There are none. There are none.
I'll tell you. Okay, it's a matter of semantics. Robin Salo will be up with the team at some point this season.
Okay.
Do you not agree?
None. So you admit none. Thank you.
No. Oh my God. I love how you just changed. You moved the goalpost. You said name one player. I did, and then you said, "Well, name a skater." Come on,
a skater. I'm trying to compare it to Kiefer Bellows. He's not a goalie.
Man, Grumpy.
Yeah, there are none. Thank you. Move on.
Jesus.
It's all right. It's all right.
Michael T said, "Scratch Bailey, put in Bellows."
No. Never happening. Never happening.
I wouldn't want that to happen. Again, Bellows did not look good in the game we saw him in, and I'm sorry. Come on. I'm not saying Bailey's look great. I'd rather have Bailey in the lineup than Bellows at this point. I don't even know why that's a discussion.
What they should have done, what Barry should have done last year, if he was even had half a brain, is when Anders Lee went down, you ride Kiefer Bellows for the rest of the year. You didn't need to put Leo Komarov in there. That playoff spot was locked up. You see what you had in the kid. You give him a 20 game, whatever it was, 25 games to show what he can do. You just ride him all the way out. You say, Kiefer, you're going to be starting with us for the rest of the year. Let's see what you can do. You show him a little bit of confidence in him. What does he do? He plays a couple of games, scores some goals. The first game he doesn't score a goal. You never see him again. If you want to actually see what a kid's got, you have to give him a legitimate chance, and he never did. Period. Just like Josh Hosang, never got a legitimate shot with this organization. Never did.
Frank K said Bellows is done here. He'll score 20 to 25 goals somewhere else. I'm not sure. I'll be honest with you. His lack and inability to skate, and he looked lost in the game I saw him in. I'm not saying he'll carry that anywhere he goes. Could have been a system issue. Could have been, first game. I have no idea. That being said, he didn't look good the first action we saw him in. They suit him up the next game, and they say, we're going to do the control the minutes you're on the ice because we think you're a total liability. That's what we saw right out there. That's what we saw when Ross Johnson played his first game, right? Played 5 minutes and 30 seconds of ice time. We saw another one of those performances, 5 minutes and change for Kiefer Bellows. God almighty. You know what? Just don't even bother dressing him. Suit 7 freaking defensemen. right? Our defenses look like, like pylons out there. Nice. Suit 7 defensemen if you're only going to play the guy 5 minutes to forward. Hell, just run it, run a truncated, forward grouping. Just double shift somebody, because that's essentially what you did when you played him 5 minutes. When you play Ross Johnson 5 minutes, just run 7 defensemen.
Yeah, and then you have the cartel coming out and saying, "Well, these guys suck." How can they play 5 minutes a game?
Again, I don't get the Ross Johnson hate. Ross Johnson won every freaking board, every freaking battle along the boards. He looked good out there. People say, "Oh, he doesn't skate well. He doesn't this." Matt Martin doesn't skate well. Matt Martin doesn't play. Oh, he doesn't play specials. Matt Martin doesn't play specials anymore, as I was corrected on the show. Matt Martin doesn't play specials anymore. I see every single board, every single fight along the boards. Ross Johnson, he goes in there, he wins. Don't get me started on that. Whatever. We're gonna play Matt Martin. I don't think there's much of a difference between Matt Martin and Ross Johnson really at this stage in their career. There really isn't. But for their inability to give Ross any type of chance when Matt was out, that kind of did rub me the wrong way. But hey, whatever. It's in the past. We're not going to see anything else. Rich A said Michael Del Cole would have as many goals as Parise if he was playing right now. And that's I like it because he's got 0 goals.
Yeah, true.
Frank K said there's a rumor that Roman Turek has been looked at as a backup if Schneider doesn't pan out.
That's a smiley face on the end. Thank you, Frank.
Scott H said, do you guys think that Schneider should get the shot tomorrow?
No. Nope. I don't think he will either.
Yeah.
Sorokin wasn't really tested tonight.
I think Sorokin should play. He's young. He should be able to bounce back realistically because, right, they've got 5 days off. After the play Sunday, their next game is not until Saturday. Hell, go ahead and ride him a little bit. They've got a 5-day break. He can go ahead and rest up over the next 5 days. So I think that's what should happen.
Yeah, that's what will happen. Sorokin will play tomorrow.
I think he should too. Rusty Spooner said Sorokin got one without. We should have had a shutout against Chicago, but here we go. Let's go, Islanders. TJ and Grumpy. Hi, TJ and Grumpy.
Thank you, Rusty.
Absolutely. Brian B. Let me go ahead and do from day one. I'm sorry. Tommy B said October is still basically preseason to teams that have their shorter camp than usual. No.
You know what? That's what I hear with the New England Patriots. Oh, Bill Belichick, the first 4 games don't mean anything. Well, when your team is 1-3 and you're out of the playoff race, guess what? They do mean something.
Football's different than the NHL. I'm not giving them an excuse saying it looks like it's preseason out there. I will say again, as I've always said, I don't care about the points that we score this early in the season. It's not a big deal, wins and losses. It's how the team looks. We can come out there looking and playing really competent hockey, but a bad break go our way, and I don't care if we're 0-5. If we look really competent out there on the ice, and I like what we see, if the defense looks like they're firing on all cylinders, if the offense is looking good, that's all I care about. I don't care much about the wins and losses. What are you inspecting your grape drink?
I want to make sure, because it's like a mix. I put like one of those little drink things in there, and the last thing you want is like some leftover fuselage there on the bottom. So you make sure you shake it up a little bit. Make sure it's all, because if you put it in cold water, it doesn't dissolve it as quickly because the water's cold,
Fuselage.
So I make sure you look at
old man's word of the day, fuselage.
Yeah, it's not really fuselage, but whatever.
Adam M said Islanders need to learn to take a lead and hold it. Yes, 3-0 is nice, but it sure didn't look like 3-0 score.
No, that's true. But at the end of the day, we got the 2 points, which is the most important. And it's just about tightening it up. And I think honestly, we lose tomorrow, but I think we see a better team potentially coming out next Saturday against Nashville, who's also not a good team. But who do we get to see against Nashville? 1:30 in the afternoon next Saturday.
Philip Tomasino.
One of the 3 amigos. Be interested to see how they perform.
Yeah. Coach Tommy B said here, many of the teams off to good starts will sink down in a month or in December. I do agree with that, right? That's why you don't take too much stock in what the points are. I said that when we lost the first 2 games, not a big deal. I say that now when we're beating, the lesser caliber teams. I really don't care what the record says at the moment. I care what type of hockey we're playing.
Yeah. So, like the lesser teams, like the Detroits and the Buffaloes.
Hey, don't you be shitting on Detroit. Detroit will be better this year. Don't you be Detroit? Hey man, what can I say? I've got a feeling about Detroit. I know that Thomas Greiss got absolutely shelled tonight. Nedeljkovic came in and kind of played much better, but man, Thomas Greiss got shelled tonight for the Red Wings. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: they're not going to be the team that you think they are going to be this year. But I was hoping for slower starts, honestly, from Washington and Pittsburgh. I don't like how they've came out and played strong, or even Philadelphia, who I hate the most.
They're 2-1-1. Philly hasn't played great. I mean, look at it. The Florida Panthers are undefeated so far in this season.
As is Carolina.
Yeah, I was about to say, both of those teams, right, have been unbelievable to start the year. They're both very, very talented teams, right? We talked about Florida, those goalie tandem, right? Spencer Knight, we always said, is the real deal. And with Bobrovsky playing of the Bobrovsky is old, you're looking at a hell of a goalie tandem there in Florida if they are able to stay healthy.
Yeah, I think the Rangers will take a little bit of a step. Oh, well, here's the thing. I'm certain the Rangers will take a step back. Their defense is still not very good. They're really good offensively, but you got to play defense in this league. The teams that concern me are the ones that everyone was writing off, including your little pal, Tommy Baffy there.
He wasn't. Maybe he was writing off Pittsburgh. I don't think he was writing off Washington.
Well, I'm just telling you, the fact that those two teams have come out strong bothers me a little bit.
It's early yet in the season. Pittsburgh is not. Hey, we talked how long is their fun in the sun going to be? The fun in the sun isn't ending anytime soon, right? That you would think that when they add back Crosby, Malkin, and Letang, the team's only going to increase, their wins and production on the ice. So
I think Letang is back.
I didn't play tonight.
Okay, he didn't play tonight.
I think he was day to day and didn't play tonight.
Okay.
Tommy B also said Sorokin will start tomorrow. They have 5 days off after tomorrow. If one player gets an off day tomorrow, it's going to be Chara taking a seat for Aho.
I'm all for that.
I hate, though, that Aho is going to get broken in. Again, I know Vegas has some injuries. I hate that Aho is going to get broken in against a more talented team, right? If you want a guy like that who hasn't really had much NHL time, you'd like to break him in against the worst team in the NHL, like the Arizona Coyotes. And then you would play Zdeno Chara in the second half of the back-and-back. But instead, if Aho gets a chance to play tomorrow, right, he's going to be playing against a much more competent, a much stronger team. But hey, this is the NHL. There are no cupcake games.
With this way, if he's on the ice when a goal is given up, you can send him, a one-way ticket to Siberia, courtesy of Leo, so we can never see him again and have to have Chara in the lineup forever.
Are you struggling right now, Grumpy? It sounded like you were struggling over those freaking words. Holy crap.
Oh, actually, I had something worked out, but you went so long that it kind of threw off my timing.
Okay. J.K. said, this is not an impressive win tonight. Tomorrow is going to be a scheduled loss. Vegas injuries now withstanding.
That's the way I feel about tomorrow as well.
Okay. REC said, so what happens when Beauvillier isn't on a hot streak? When Beauvillier is not on a hot streak, that second line struggles unless Brock Nelson's playing well. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of times where I say, holy crap, Josh Bailey's on fire. I don't feel like I say that all that often. I say that occasionally about players on the first line. I say that about Matt Barzal. I think we're going to be able to say that about, Kyle Palmieri, sometimes about Anders Lee. If Bailey's not on, if Beauvillier is not on all cylinders, I think it has to be Brock Nelson driving that line. If it's not him, yikes.
I have a new nickname for Josh Bailey.
What is that, Grumpy?
Just playing off that fire thing. He is line flame retardant. You just put him on there, it puts out any flames that there are.
He's the fire extinguisher.
The big foam that they put in the building.
Oh,
he's a line extinguisher.
Oh, man. Matt I said Sorokin great again tonight, but I agree. Bailey shouldn't be on the first line. Yes, Sorokin, again, another good night. I don't think he was tested all that much, but hey, he did what he had to do. And, as we said before, Sorokin's not going to be the issue. This guy is elite. So, again, it's all whether the defense in front of him does what they're supposed to do, right? If you put Sorokin and a team that played fire engine hockey like Toronto or anything like that, he's going to be hemorrhaging goals the other direction too because they play no team defense.
Sure.
Matt I also said, I like Bailey, but he should be on the third line.
I have no problem with him on the third line, honestly, and nowhere near the power play. That's what I don't. Why would you put a guy on the power play who won't shoot the puck ever?
He did shoot the puck tonight. He did. He shot ricocheted off of a defenseman's stick and off of Brock Nelson's skate and went in the net. He did shoot the puck. Here's the thing, right? Wasn't a pretty goal for the power play, but when you put the puck freaking towards the net, sometimes you're going to get lucky and you're going to score. And that's what that was. A redirection, a bouncy, flubby puck, and it goes right over the goalie's shoulder, and we score the goal.
I think he was trying to pass it to Nelson.
You think it was a high velocity pass? Come on, get the hell out of here. It was
For
a
him.
shot.
Yeah, it was weak.
It was a shot. Come on. Ross N said, I'm glad we won. Absolutely, Ross. I am too. Rusty Spooner said, why the freak does Chara get major playing time? Plug nickel play, boys. I'm done with it. Shaking my head. Wallstrom. Let's go, Islanders.
Yeah.
Tommy B said we have 13 goals in 5 games. The offense is struggling right now, though, no doubt. I'm not worried about the offense, though. I'm not. I'm really not worried about the offensive production.
Okay, we scored 3 goals against the worst defensive team in the league. Only 3. And we scored 4 against the second worst defensive team in the league, Chicago. Take those 9 away. How many goals have you scored against Carolina, Florida, and Columbus? That's 4, right? I mean, it all balances out. I don't care what we do against. We should beat the hell out of the crappy teams. How do we do against the better teams?
Hold on. Right, we had 3 goals against Carolina. We had 1 goal against Florida. We had 2 goals against the Blue Jackets.
Okay, 6.
Yeah.
Then maybe Tommy doesn't know how to add. Which I wouldn't put that past him. He doesn't look like a guy who knows how to add.
No, we've got what the hell, Grumpy? You don't know how to add. What are you talking about, Grumpy? What? Oh my God. We had 4 goals against the Blackhawks and 3 goals tonight. That's 7. Then we had 3 goals against the Hurricane. That's 10. And then we had an additional 3 goals between the Florida Panthers and the Blue Jackets. That's 13 goals, Grumpy. Holy shit. Is it?
I know how to add. I just don't know how to subtract. That's my problem.
Oh my God, Grumpy. I could add, but not subtract. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, man, I said Vegas will be tough.
Yeah, they're a good team. They play a tough style too.
Tommy B could not be preaching more to the choir here. We said it, and again, we took heat for it, but hey, that's what we saw. Right, Soroka was not terrible the first 2 games. Was he elite? Was he stealing the game for us? No, but he wasn't bad. And again, the defense was awful. That's for certain.
Yeah, it was the turnovers, right? It was the same things that are plaguing us now, but we're playing better teams. I mean, we just need to up our game. I feel we will. I think I'm not tomorrow, even if we lose tomorrow, I'm expecting a better team come next Saturday.
Paulo C said, Pittsburgh has depth with a good mix of young and old players, but the only question is in net. The only reason why we beat them in the playoffs is Tristan Jarry long term, right? Again, the regular season, it's all about just getting to the postseason. That's all it is. If you could have home ice advantage, that's good. It's icing on top of the cake. But how do you play in the postseason? Totally different animal.
Right.
Andrew L. said, the time Aho and Salo get in the lineup can't come soon enough.
You'll never see, and barring injuries, you'll never see both of them in the lineup at the same time. Barring injuries.
Yeah.
And I don't think Chara is going to get hurt, honestly. I don't think he's going to get hurt.
No, that man is like, what do they call him? He's like an iron horse. He's like the Cal Ripken. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating, but that guy doesn't get hurt.
Lou Gehrig, who was the original Iron Horse. That was Lou Gehrig's nickname.
There we go. George said here, we beat 2 bad teams. I'm glad we won, but I'm really concerned the way we're playing so far.
That's it, George. Once again, another convert. Thank you, George.
Another convert. What are they converting to, Grump? What are they converting to?
George is smart. He's smart. George is smart.
What are they converting to? I'll ask you again.
The grumpy old man's way of thinking. Not thinking that everything that the cartel media tells you is correct. Use your eyes.
Good. Grumpy. Yeah. You see, like, man, I think it's late. Jerben said, boys, I'm making an Islanders Never Say Die bingo sheet. It's going to be lit, TJ. You got to share it on screen. So when it's done, and probably next podcast. Oh, speaking of items that we're working on, hey, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the logos. We've got the first logo or the first design coming in for the shirts and designs. They're looking good. They're looking good. So that's all I'm going to say is they're going to be coming in. I expect all of them hopefully to be in by like Wednesday or Thursday of next week. That being said, when they're all done, we're going to get them uploaded. I'm hoping by next Saturday, we're going to have them on where you can buy apparel, like a whole bunch of different things, like shirts, hats, whatever you want. They should have the ability to have it with the drop shipper we're going to be working with. So you're going to hopefully be having that next Saturday, but we'll release the logos. If they're all there by next Wednesday, we'll show you guys the logos one by one, and we'll kind of go ahead and review them over, and we'll post them on social media so you guys will know what they look like ahead of time.
Do you have a shirt design now? Instead of once again pushing it further and further into the future, Do you have a shirt design you can show the people now?
I have not officially said, because again, we need to make sure if there's any adjustments we need to make, Grumpy Old Man, that we've got that.
Oh,
But
wasn't there one that you said was completed?
yeah, we still need to look at it to make sure here. But I'll go ahead and I'll show you, Grumpy. Just give us a second here.
Well, I know what it looks like. I want the people to see it. You keep on over promising, under delivering, and now you're playing your once again moving the goalposts. You said this Saturday we would have something. Now you actually have something, and you won't show it. You want to push it
So
further.
this is going to be the back on one of the shirts here. It's going to have a Grumpy's Groupies with a picture of Grumpy and a little design. And on the back, it's going to have an old groovy hippie van in the colors of orange and blue, and some hippies sticking their heads out with Grumpy's Groupies on the back.
Is that me in the middle with the two chicks on the side?
No, it's not Grumpy. That's way too much hair for you or I. And again, I don't think the first one's a chick either. It's just some hippie looking individuals.
Oh, okay.
So yes, Grumpy Old Man. That's the first logo. That's the first design we've gotten back. That's going to be on the back of one of the shirts here, or one of the items. So that's the first one we've gotten back, ladies and gentlemen. There's 4 more that are still coming. So
You can maybe put that on the front of the shirt. It's kind of growing on me a little bit.
It's growing on you a little bit. You like that design a little bit, Grumpy? You said it was a horrible idea. You said this idea we came with, horrible. I can't believe it, TJ. This is a bad idea. I thought it was going to be a good one, and I hope it's a good one. I hope people like this idea.
I hope so too.
Moving right along, Grumpy, because it's late. And again, once we get all of them, we'll post them on the social media, so you'll be able to see all the different designs we've got, so you'll be prepared as they start to roll out here. Adam M also said power play. The power play, as always, is struggling. We need the power play to show up more this year because teams won't sleep on us anymore.
If you take Josh Bailey off of the power play, it helps.
Bullshit. Well, I will say, generally speaking, it would help on a side, but man, oh man, he's got to point it in on a power play. He threw the puck towards the net. I need to see the Josh Bailey who throws the puck towards the net on a power play like tonight more often.
What Josh Bailey is that? He doesn't exist.
He threw the puck towards the net. That's what I want.
Come on. It was the end of the period. He's just probably trying to dump it in the zone.
Get the freak out of here. Get the hell out of here. What do you mean?
No. If you take him off the power play, you move Bavelier up to the first unit. I kind of like that.
If Josh Bailey would be willing to shoot the puck more often from his position in the power play, the defense, even if it's not a great shot, the defense would be forced to respect the shot more often, which would open up other avenues. When he never shoots the puck, it makes it more difficult when you're rotating and you've got that power play moving and you're cycling. But if he shoots the puck more often, the teams would have to respect it. It would open up more avenues on the power play. We need to see Josh Bailey shooting and throwing the puck towards the net more on the power play like we saw tonight. We need to see that more often out of him, and I think that would help our power play significantly.
He took one shot today. He took one shot.
He took one shot and resulted into a goal.
But he doesn't shoot the puck.
Net. That's what I'm saying. Shoot the puck, throw the puck towards the net.
But he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. It's like telling an elephant to fly. Yeah, it'd be great, but guess what? They don't do that. Expecting him to be a guy who consistently shoots the puck on the net, you're asking the wrong guy. I can't even. I don't. Have you ever watched the power play when he's on it? He doesn't shoot the puck. So you think he's going to change as he gets into his mid-30s, as opposed to what he's been his whole career?
I'm saying he needs. Here's the thing, right? We talked about certain players needing to kind of change and alter and to make different adjustments to their game. One of the adjustments I'd like to see out of Josh Bailey's game, he's a pass-first mentality. He is almost a pass-only mentality. Do you remember Henrik Sedin from the Vancouver Canucks? Remember that guy would always pass. He was always looking for the pass, almost afraid and allergic to shoot the puck on net. I feel like that is what Josh Bailey has a little bit too much of, right? Throw the puck more towards the net, and you're going to see the production increase, just like we did tonight. You have to throw the puck towards the net, though. They have to respect your ability to shoot on the power play. It's going to open up so many more chances for us.
And you're right. Henrik wouldn't shoot the puck. He'd much rather pass it. And people didn't. I mean, he scored some goals.
Again, Henrik Sedin was a freaking fantastic passer. Again, Henrik Sedin, much better. Not comparing Henrik Sedin to Josh Bailey. Henrik Sedin, a far better player. I'm just saying the styles that they have.
Henrik was way better.
He was a better skater, better passer. I get it, way better vision. I'm just saying he had that pass first mentality. Like Josh Bailey has the pass first mentality. Some players have the pass first mentality. Josh Bailey does too.
Matt Barzal has pass first. Same thing.
Pass first mentality. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Grumpy. Are you struggling to remember something I just said in that sentence?
Oh, just go next comment.
Grumpy, you should have hit up with some energy drink or something.
What time is it? It's 2:00 in the morning. I don't know about you, but it's late for me.
Hey man, I'm in a central time zone. It's only 1:00 for me. I'm still rolling hard. Shane H said we look slow and sloppy, like it's still preseason.
True.
Again, early on in the year, so it doesn't really bother me. Oh, Rusty Spooner said Chara sucks. I'll say it. Why does he get so much playing time? Shaking my head at TJ and the grumpy old man. Oliver should have 43 goals this year. Just saying.
I'd be ecstatic if he had 43 goals. This would be a totally different show if he had 43 goals.
Coach Tommy B said, let's see if they pick up the play versus Vegas. A bit of a playoff hangover with a shorter offseason, no doubt.
Yeah, let's see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, hey, I think Vegas has a few injuries. As I said before, depending on how we come, I really think that's a game. Again, I know you think this is a lose. We're going to lose against Vegas. Vegas has 2 top 6 forwards and a top 4 defenseman possibly out for next game. So this is something we could take advantage of.
What I'm saying is if we don't clean up the loose play in the neutral zone in our own defensive zone, we'll lose to them. If we tighten it up, we have a shot to come away with points without a doubt. I'm just not happy with what I've seen so far this year. That's all. We haven't been tight. That's all I'm going to say.
Rusty Spooner said, I can't believe that I'm pissed about a 3-0 shutout. I just can't stand old Chara. Shaking my head. Let's go Islanders, though.
Why, Rusty? Because you're expecting good things from this team. So you want them to be better. That's the way I always look at it. Nothing is perfect. Okay? Unless you beat a team, 15-0, nothing is perfect. And you want to see the team strive for perfection. That's what you want to see. You want to see the team look better every single game. You want to see them be ultra competitive in every game.
Yeah.
You don't want to see them come out flat against a team like Arizona, honestly.
No, I agree. Hey, again, we always look at it. And again, coaches would say the same exact thing. That's why, fans take a different aspect than coaches. You can beat a team. And again, you can beat a team 4-0. And there's still going to be items that a coach is nitpicking you on because they want perfection. How do we go ahead and elevate this game to we're at the pinnacle where no team can come close to sniffing what we do? That's what we're always looking for. Again, we're not coaches, but we're always looking for, hey, how do we make it to where the team is at a level of we are dominant, we're the number one team, we're the top dog, we're the alpha male, etc. Coach Tommy B said Dobson had his best game tonight. He's been inconsistent for the first 4 games. I 100% agree. Again, I thought he's looked shaky at times the first few games earlier on this year. What we saw tonight was more consistent play. I thought more defensively sound, and I liked what I saw. He needs to build off of tonight's game.
Do you think that was because he was playing with Chara, who's got nothing left?
Maybe
he's trying to do too much.
Again, we've talked about that before. Sometimes defensemen get in a mindset, especially young defensemen, if they get paired up with a guy who they feel like, oh, okay, I've got to cover up because Daniel doesn't skate, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. Sometimes players get that feeling of, hey, I have to do a little too much, and they grip the stick a little tighter. He's with a more comfortable partner who's worked with in the past in Andy Green, and I think he feels a little bit more comfortable on the ice.
And I like the defensive changes that Barry made, but it's a concern against teams with speed with Pulak and Char out there at the same time. I mean, is that who you want out there against the team's number one line? Or is it going to be Mayfield and Pellick going to be playing against the number one line? I don't know. We're going to find out, right?
Yeah. Paulo C also says here, when you're a close team like we are and you have a good defensive system, great goaltending, I'm not too worried. We'll be fine for the talent that we have. You cannot ask for much more so far.
I just think we should be more we should be in our structure. This is not the first year we're playing the system. This is like year 4 playing the system. We should know what to do. Everyone should know what the expectation is. That's the thing. It means virtually the same cast of characters, right? So they should those guys should know what's expected, how Barry Trotz wants you to play. They should know it.
Don't disagree. D-Cut says Mayfield played his 2 best regular season games since Taves was traded there versus Columbus and Arizona, both playing with Pellick. It's helped.
Yeah. Yeah, because he helps cover up for, some of the mistakes that Scott makes.
Pellick, again, Also want to mention that Pellick's play, I don't think he got an assist for it. It was an unassisted goal, but Pellick's play of forcing the puck out of our defensive zone, and again, where it was able to be converted there to Cal Clutterbuck on that odd man break where he was able to execute. That was a fantastic job by Pellick as well, right? Turning a turnover in our defensive zone, a turnover by the Arizona Coyotes, where we're able to force that in our defensive zone, immediately get that puck headman, and then where Cal Clutterbuck is able to catch that in transition and able to score that goal. Fantastic job by Adam Pellick.
Talk about a later round draft pick paying off. Adam Pellick, right?
What do we always say too? In order to be a good team, in order to be a team at the top, you have to be able to draft well. When you're able to get guys like Adam Pellick, who brings the value that Adam Pellick brings on a consistent night in, night out basis, was he a 3rd round pick?
I believe so.
That is fantastic. I mean, the guy's a top pairing defenseman anywhere in the NHL. Fantastic. And a 3rd round selection. Fantastic. Yeah. Brandon Frey said, can't disagree with you guys more about Bailey.
Ugh.
I think you disagree more with the grumpy old man. I don't dislike Bailey. I just think when he's struggling and he wasn't playing terrific, I don't understand rewarding him by saying we're going to play you more ice time on the first line. The first line with Palmieri was firing on all cylinders.
Yeah,
and
I don't know what
we change it up because we're trying to help augment and spread the love, spread the talent around. I'm just not a big fan of that.
I don't know what Brandon's line of business is, but let's say, you're a guy who's a salesman, and you have all these salesmen and everybody's doing great except for one who's really sucking. And then it's like, okay, well, let's put him in charge of the department. That's kind of like what it's like.
Well, no, it's like saying, let's say everybody goes on, you got a sales team and you have a partner. Hey, we're going to go ahead and certain people get pitched to big items, right? They go to big sales. They've got, the big clients and everything like that. And, Josh Bailey's on these items. He goes to pretty big clients because, he in the past, he's done a more than admirable job. So he's off to a little bit of a cold streak. He hasn't been doing good on the sales pitches, etc. He's been struggling. So instead of saying, hey, Josh Bailey, we're going to kind of maybe switch up teams because items need to get switched up. We're actually going to promote you to talk to bigger clients. We're going to give you more minutes. We're going to give you better chances with our other individuals who do a really good job pitching. We're gonna go ahead and elevate you. I don't get that style of thought. Never have. I
like my
analogy better.
Yeah. Taking a guy who's slack and putting him in charge of the department. That's worse.
Frank Hayes said, TJ giving a bad WWF promo. LOL.
Yeah.
Lame. What can I say? I struggle. Rusty Spooner said Vegas doesn't have the flurry though. It's a huge game. You have to figure Robin Leonard's going to start for Vegas, right?
Oh yeah. He's going to want to come out and play against us too, isn't he?
I'll be interested to see how he plays against us. That's right. It's a big game. It's a big game for Robin Leonard. I feel like that's a big game for him personally.
Yeah.
Short-winded though, Grumpy. Vinny Smith said, Islanders win. Tonight's Josh Bailey report. Josh Bailey got an assist tonight. They moved the great Bailey from the second line since he was not doing well to the first line. So the second line had a great night. The first line does not. Last game, Barzal's first line had 6 shots on net. So let's move the playmaker Bailey to the first line. Barzal has 2 shots on net. Get down from his game where he had 9. Most coaches and teams would sit a player like Bailey, not Trotz. Let's put him up to the first line. What a joke, Bailey. 76 more games to go, Bailey.
Yeah. I mean, preaching to the choir. That's exactly it. He is line repellent.
Brandon Frey said Islanders should have brought in Alex Barry-Boyet. I hope I pronounced that name correctly. Boyer, and dumped the real F- Kiefer Bellows. Now, Alex Barry, he's played extremely well. He played for the Syracuse Crunch, have posted fantastic numbers, right? I think he was a point leader, one of the point leaders in the AHL last year. A younger guy who was waived or who was put on waivers by the Seattle Kraken, as shocking as that may sound, and Tampa Bay snatched him right back up. And I was shocked that the Islanders didn't make a play at that because, again, a guy like that who was on a very manageable deal, I've always liked what I've seen at him. He's got the ability to play center too. And again, you always feel like maybe you can play him in a depth position. I would not have mind the Islanders making a move like that.
Why would you bring in a guy who can put points on the board? There's nowhere for him to play. There is literally nowhere on this roster where a kid like that is going to play because everybody is in granite, drilled into the the foundation of the USB center. Those guys are going to be the starters. No one else need apply.
So just so you see a little bit about Boyer there. Again, he plays more of a bottom six role, but he's a younger player who plays a bottom six role, right? 24 years old, has put up points at the AHL at the Syracuse Crunch level, right? He's done that for 2 seasons. He played, and again, it's not a shock at all that the Tampa Bay Lightning immediately went ahead and said, yes, we're going to claim you off of waivers, and he's going to be joining back the Tampa Bay Lightning.
There has to be a reason why they let him go. He had a point in 2 games. Why would they let him go?
They wanted to waive him. Honestly, I couldn't tell you too much about it, but he's back with the Tampa Bay Lightning now. And again, that is a guy, I think Brandon Frey, when I saw that, absolutely fantastic. I thought we should have done something like that. And here's the thing, too. We have Kiefer Bellis has no future here. And if you liked what you see out of Alex better than what we saw out of Kiefer Bellis, why not roll the dice? Why not try to acquire a guy like that?
Especially if he has no shot, and he has no shot of playing on this team. Why don't you try to get something for him? Like I said, they're hosanging him, waiting until he has no value in the league and becomes an unrestricted free agent. Then they let him walk. Makes no sense.
I do agree. I would have liked to pick up with that, but he's back with Tampa, unfortunately. Coach Tommy B said, look at the officiating. It was awful tonight. They missed the illegal hit on Cizikas, the blatant hold on Pelech, and a high stick on Beauvillier. Yeah, they're missing calls kind of all over the place.
They missed on both teams, right? You had Mayfield certainly with the boarding call, Nelson with a high stick. They missed a lot of calls. They missed a lot of calls tonight.
To be honest with you, I wonder if because, they look at a game like that, like, oh, this game doesn't really matter what we do officiating wise, we'll have no impact. Doesn't matter if we're calling penalties, shorthanded, doesn't really matter what we're doing. It's going to have no impact at all in the game. I wonder if they towards the end of the game, they kind of got that. But yeah, there was, I know it was an illegal hit on Cizikas, and that's what started the fight there with O'Brien and Matt Martin. That was a missed call and a high stick on Beauvillier. They missed a lot of calls on both sides, I think.
They just wanted to go home early.
Rusty Spooner said, leave Scotty Too Hottie alone, Grumpy. LOL, let's go Islanders.
Used to do the worm, Scotty Too Hottie, with Grandmaster Sexay and Rikishi. Used to do the dance.
What a Film said, I agree with Grumpy on just about everything, but stop calling Brock Croc Nelson, Grumpy. I don't like when he calls him Croc either. He's a solid second-line center. Wallstrom needs to be up on the second line with him.
I call him Croc. That's a running joke. That's a joke years in the making.
5 years ago, you started calling Croc?
At least, yes.
Brandon Frey said, Beauvillier hasn't been good this year.
He's been okay. I don't think he's been great this year. He's been okay.
And Tommy B is saying, Beauvillier has struggled and looked awful in the power play so far. Here's the thing. I thought he's looked good in flashes, and I think what I saw out in the night, what I saw tonight, he can build on. The offense hasn't put up points, but it hasn't concerned me very much. I'm not concerned about the offense. I'm more concerned about the defensive side of the puck. Maybe that's me. Maybe I've got my priorities wrong. I just think for our system, we don't need 5-6 goals a night in order to win. We're not an Edmonton Oilers where we need to be scoring 4 or 5 goals every night to win games. We're a team that if we score 2 or 3 goals, if we score 3 goals, I'm by all accounts expecting a W. If we score 3 goals, we need to come away with a win. The style of defense and the goaltending we have, if we score 3 goals, we have to win.
I'll agree in most. That's what you'd hope. That's what you hope is that if we score 3 goals, we should win. Reasonably expect to win at least 75-80% of the time. I agree.
Okay. Jesse B said, good evening, Grump and TJ. Good evening, Jesse. Michael T also saying here, we're definitely not playing Islanders hockey yet. We see flashes of it, but definitely not for 60 minutes of it. But I think they'll find their groove.
Right. That's what I think. I think you're going to see a different team come next Saturday afternoon. That's what I feel.
Coach Tommy B said, it's very common for vets to need a month to get into going. To get things going in the sport. It's not uncommon. See, I disagree with that.
Yeah, I totally disagree with that.
Some of the teams, I understand a little bit of the teams that made it to, the Final Four, maybe you're coming off a little bit of that hangover. Hey, we need to get geared back up. We're not just going to be handed wins. I know we were good last year. I know we made it, to the Eastern Conference or Western Conference finals, but teams aren't just going to roll over and die when we come into town. Sometimes it takes them a while to realize that, not a month. Maybe a few games, maybe 4 or 5 games, but I'm not expecting that too much longer. I expect a lot of the errors, a lot of the bad turnovers, mean, those should be really fixed up by the next Saturday's game that we have.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think at this point in time, with the way sports are now, it's a 360-day a year job. Even when your season's over, you're working out, you're staying in shape. It's not like when Tommy was a kid back in the 1920s, where guys had to get jobs painting houses and, delivering newspapers or being milkmen or whatever it was back in the day when he was a kid. These guys are training for this all year round. So that just doesn't hold water for me.
Let me ask you this, Grumpy. If Coach Tommy B was a kid in the 1920s, when were you a kid? The 1890s?
The 1860s, actually. I was delivering newspapers during the Civil War.
The Civil War was in the 1860s. Fair enough. Even younger.
Get your paper here.
I don't think Johann Gutenberg had even produced the printing press by the Civil War era.
Is that so?
Yeah, Grumpy.
Okay.
Rusty Spooner said, we better at least get to the cup. Power play on both kills me. WTF Islanders. Rusty, early, man. I'm not even looking towards the cup right now. Hey, those are the expectations of getting to the cup. That's for certain. But, man, it's early. A lot of moving and shaking still have to go this year.
Maybe we'll get the coffee cup. Certainly not the Stanley Cup.
D-Cut says, TJ almost regurgitated at his mini fire hydrant when Grumpy gave some love to Isles Misery Rated R. I was like, ugh. I almost spit my drink out.
You did give a snarl, like some type of face, a smirk. I didn't like it.
Ooh, those evil guys at the Isles Misery Rated R. Ooh.
All I know is they support us, so I'm going to support them.
I'm a big supporter of the Islanders Inquirer, and I can't stand those free-thinking individuals at the Isles Misery Rated R. Ugh, how dare they have their own thoughts?
I hate those goofs.
Right? I'll play. It's fun to kind of ham it up. Coach Tommy B said Nashville bound on Friday, ladies and gents.
Oh, that's right.
The Drive for Five is going to that.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
the group, the Drive for Five is going there. Grumpy.
Nice, very nice.
Frank Hay said Matt Martin is the ultimate teammate who comes for his mate's side every time.
I'll give him that. He sticks up for teammates, always has.
I think a lot of players on this team take that same mentality. And I know Matt Barzal took a hit earlier, and people were like, "Hey, why did nobody come to his side?" Yeah, I think a lot of times though, this team, if anything happens to a teammate, they're going to be out there to support him.
You should never ever let Matt Barzal take a hit from anybody ever. The whole team needs to jump somebody who does that. Period. No excuse.
Rusty Spooner said, Wallstrom's wrister is similar to Paul Coffey. You heard it here, Rusty, and I stand by what I say.
Wow. Look at that. A Paul Coffey reference.
There it is.
It's spelled like Mr. Coffee there, too.
Absolutely. Jared Ben said, boys, say what you want about the $6 million man. When he's in the line, the team plays a hell of a lot better. Whether his play is on the ice or is better or worse than Johnston, I'm saying the team is better with him. Maybe it's also a locker room thing. Who knows? But the team is way noticeably better with him dressed up. You can't dispute this. Well, I will say the games he has played against are against lesser quality teams. He wasn't playing. I'll be interested to see how he looks. Again, Vegas is still recovering from a few injuries. I'll be interested to see how they play as the season progresses. It's early yet.
Yeah, it's early.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What a film said, you got it, Grumpy, from Ontario, now in Alberta. The time zone is great for sports.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. I was watching something. What game was I watching? I don't know, but it was like, game starting 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Like 4 o'clock in the afternoon was a West Coast feed of some game today. And I'm like, oh yeah, man, wouldn't it be great? I mean, you wake up, let's say you get up on a Saturday morning, you get yourself up at 9 o'clock. 2 hours later, you have, or maybe even for college football, you have games that start 12. You're waking up 9. There's already a game on at 9 o'clock in the morning, and just all day long. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Hey, that is always good to get all action. That's why I love Saturdays. And right now, we're in that special time, too, where we're still have the MLB playoffs. The NHL's come back in the action. You have college football. I mean, the weekends are fantastic. I think I spend an unholy amount of time watching sports on the weekend. Coach Tommy B said, Grumpy Old Man is John McClane's son.
That is John McClane's son. Actually, I do know that now that Tommy's mentioned it, but it didn't fit my narrative, Tommy. My narrative being that John McClain would actually be suiting up for the Islanders soon as a first call up at whatever age he is, 55, 60, whatever he is.
Coach Nyby said Bellows looked like crap in the 2 games he played. He definitely looked like crap the first game. Second game, didn't even play more than 5 minutes. Again, like it was unnoticeable because he played 5 minutes ice time. The first game, as we said, we came out and said it. Hey, we're wrong. Kiefer Bellows looked like garbage, etc. Had a bad game. We mentioned it. We definitely did. We said, hey, we're wrong to sing the praise and laudits of Kiefer Bellows. We came out and said it. First thing I say.
I didn't think he looked poor in his limited minutes. His 6 minutes.
I didn't think he looked impact. It's impossible really to gauge how a player looks through 6 minutes. I mean, he played a 10th of the game.
Yeah.
So
it's like nothing.
Mm-hmm. Robert C. said, Tommy Bappy, absolutely, especially when you have a team like the Islanders who thrive on their structure. One can't imagine how much theory is involved. How big the playbook does each team have on this team?
Okay, here's where I disagree with this. These are the same guys who've been playing this system for years. The same guys. They know what to expect. They know the system. It's not like Barry is wheeling out some new concepts. It's the same thing he's been running for years and years and years with this Islander team and with these players. They should be able to do this system in their sleep. Period.
Yeah. Drew S. said, TJ, what the hell? No phone-ins tonight? I'm sorry, Drew. I know he was at the game. I like the Tavares shirt burning. I do like that, Drew. I'm sorry. It's just, it was late. I didn't want to do any call-ins because I know it was like 2:30 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. I was like, okay, I know if we do call-ins, it could be like a 3-hour, 30, maybe 4-hour show. So for Grumpy, I know he's on the East Coast. So I was like, I don't want to podcast until 3 in the morning. So I'm sorry, Drew. Next week, I promise you we'll have call-ins. I know you're at the game. I apologize, Drew S. He showed me the tickets, or he showed me the seats there he's in. He was watching the Islanders live there. I'm jealous. I'm envious. And I'm sure you had a lot of space between you and your next and the closest fans to you.
You can always tell when you're playing a shitty team when you have more of the opponent's fans in your stadium.
And they're showing pockets of Islander fans.
New York fans representing, or New York Islander fans representing in Arizona.
Mm-hmm. REC said, I love this podcast. The only podcast that starts with a 2-minute and 45-second countdown. Hey, we want to make sure everybody's ready when we go live, so they get a little bit of time to get ready. Brandon Frey says here's a list of people who sucked. Villiers, Nelson, Bailey, Pajot, Cizikas, Chara, Green, Mayfield. I agree with some of those. I don't think Cizikas has looked all that great to start the season. Chara and Green, you've heard us talk about ad nauseum. Bailey, you've heard us talk about ad nauseum. I don't think
Pajot's been better.
Nelson, I think Pajot is still recovering. I don't think he looked great at the beginning of the season. We mentioned that. Absolutely. I think he looked okay, and then he kind of looked sick tonight.
I thought the first couple of games he struggled, but then after that he picked it up, and then he got sick.
The only two necessarily I don't agree with maybe are Beauvillier and Nelson. Again, I think the second line has struggled. I don't think it's their issue. I don't think it's their fault. They've had moments. They've had chances. Haven't really seen too many chances for Bailey. Again, Mayfield has looked better with Pelech, but Mayfield, when he was playing with Green, did not look like a good combination. I thought he's looked better as the last few games that he's played with Pelech. So, but again, these a lot of these guys we agree with. They have not played well with. Chara, definitely not. Green, definitely not. Cizikas. So, hey, but moving right along. Rusty Spooner said Seattle, a.k.a. the rainy city bitch pigeons, laughing my ass off. What a crappy city.
Agreed.
Oh man. Brandon Frey also said the owners of the Kraken are snowflake morons.
100% true. I could tell just by listening to him today.
Michael T said, I love to see Tarasenko here, but how could we afford him? I'll tell you one thing. I don't think we could do something for Bailey included. I mean, he'd really have to pick up play if Bailey for Tarasenko. But again, I don't think why would the Blues want to change anything up right now? Again, everything's working well for them. They're undefeated, I believe, at this point in time. They're scoring goals in droves. They look offensively very potent. I don't think the Blues are changing anything up.
No, I mean, and they got that goof. Berube is their coach. Think about that.
Oh man. Rusty Spooner said, how much does Bailey cost per shot?
Versus $10 million a shot.
You're saying he takes a negative shot every game?
Yeah. -2 a year.
Oh, Jesus.
Tarasenko, 45 cents a shot.
Brandon Frey was saying Nelson, Barzal, Bavilla, LOL, they were all drafted by Snow. I think Grumpy was talking about players that were drafted by Snow that were not playing for the organization yet in the Islanders roster and worked their way into the roster. There were a lot of guys, almost the entire team. Oddly enough, we talked about this offseason, was drafted by Snow. The majority of this team was all assembled by Snow, which I've always liked. Snow's biggest ineptitude was his inability to find a head coach or an inability to turn this team into a legitimate, team to where players and coaches wanted to stay. And again, Lamoriello has brought that complete 180.
Gave us credibility, without a doubt.
Yeah, but out of the new players is what Grumpy was saying. Again, I'll still give Sorokin and Robin Salo will be playing for this team and the organization probably about, I feel like halfway through the year. I think he will find his way in the lineup.
I hope you're right.
And then Tommy B said, good evening, gents. Got to get ready for Vegas tomorrow. And and then a lot of practice.
True.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What a film said, I know it's early this season, but thank goodness we've got great goaltending.
Yeah, he's been good. He's been good. We didn't need him to be great today, but he's been good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Rusty Spooner said Sorokin plays like shit for the first 4 to 5 games, the first 3 games. Then he's deadlock after that. We have our dude, just put Barzal with Wallstrom and just 1 cup easily. Let's go Islanders.
Well, we'll see. I think we need a little bit more. If we would have got Tarasenko and Bailey going the other way, I would have actually felt we were legit contenders.
Oh, and Rusty Spooner also says here, just to let the Grumpy know, the Pats are no more. They're dead 100%.
True. Players win game, coaches losing. Don't ever forget that.
Grumpy, I can tell you're getting tired. Rusty Spooner also said, I want to see the shirts, TJ. What else are you hiding from us and Grumpy? Oh, Jay says, Mom and Dad are fighting again. You and I battling back and forth. The van should say the Bailey bus on the side.
It would have freaking flat tires if it did.
Oh man. Jared Ben said, TJ, that goddamn human cliffhanger again with his empty promises and t-shirts. The fans all deserve a free shirt for this weight. Look up procrastination in the dictionary. You'll see TJ's face. What a scrub.
What a scrub. Called you scrubby.
Oh man. He said, love the logo, the retro style. Very cool. Just like the grumpy old man.
There you go.
Just accepted that we're never going to see the shirts, guys. TJ is a human anti-promise.
It's not true. It is not true.
People who break promises go to hell, TJ.
Man, TJ taking some shots right here at the end.
Honestly, that's fine. I don't mind taking shots. Again, I've been promising these shirts now for I feel like a year.
It's over a year. No, not for like a year. It's been over a year.
Yeah, so I do apologize. Hey, I deserve all the shots that anybody could throw at me until those shirts are on the shelves and they're ready to purchase, because this has been something I've been promising and talking about for way too long. So, hey, that's why I wanted to come out with more than one shirt and one concept idea when we first started. We owed it to you guys. And again, many apologies, but we hope the designs and the logos are going to be fantastic to where it's going to make up for the long wait.
But here's the thing, TJ, you also, when the shirts do come out, you get all the credit. All.
Well, we did, Grumpy. You and I worked on this together for a long time, many hours, making sure we had the right people to design the logos and describe what's going on. So I'm hoping they're going to look good. I'm hoping by next Wednesday we'll have all the logos / designs. By hopefully next Saturday we can have them up on the site. Paulo C said, TJ, why put Bailey on the power play when we have 7 better forwards than him? I really do not understand. I think he's a good passer. If he shot the puck or put the puck towards the net more often, I think he would be okay. But when he doesn't shoot the puck, defense and the penalty kill can just slough off of him. They're not worried about a shot.
That's what they do.
Yeah. And what a film said, watch the game and your podcast with my son tonight. You guys are doing something right. If you can pull him away from his video games, LOL. It's a great father and son time. You guys rock. Thanks, Widow. We do appreciate it. Omar Khan says, I don't know if you guys agree, but I'd rather see Ross Johnson over Parise. Ross Johnson takes the body and looked good earlier on. Is Ross injured? No, he'll just never get a chance. What the hell is going on up there?
I had to cough, man. I had to cough, all right?
Been coughing and burping and hiccuping all night long. God. What's going on, Grumpy?
Okay, shut
Your
up.
purple drink coming back up, man.
Okay, here's the thing. I don't think Ross is a good fit for the third line role. I think he's more of a Matt Martin type. Parisi has more skill now than Ross Johnston does. He's not injured. He's just a guy that Barry Trotz isn't going to play and, break glass in case of emergency. I mean, that's when you're going to see Ross Johnston play. Otherwise, you won't see him play. We love Ross Johnson on this side. We love him.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I do too. It's futile at this point for me to go ahead and to try to prop him up because he's just never going to get a chance, never get any time. I think he does a very admirable job. Again, how many fourth line grinders could you really need? And again, he's the odd man out based off of Barry, so that's fine. And the Rusty Spooner saying, I hope we play Ratu. No, he's not coming over this. He's at least 2-3 years away. Ratu, that's for certain. And again, for playing for Karpat, I mean, he's not really scoring and putting up a lot of points. He's going to need at least a year or two in Bridgeport. That's for certain.
Yes, agreed.
Brandon Frey also saying Barry Boyer is now going to take Kucherov's spot on the first line till he comes back. How about that? Kucherov magically needs another surgery. Maybe he could be out until this postseason again. Maybe.
He's not going to be out that long.
I don't know. Maybe there could be longer recovery time than expected, Grumpy. I don't know. This guy Kucherov just has the ability to kind of get, I'm a little injured during the regular season. Boom! He's just magically ready for the postseason as per usual.
You realize if he plays a week, he put up more points than Josh Bailey put up in a whole year.
Just get that freaking stop. Well, here's the thing. I don't think that, again, obviously being a little hyperbolic, Kucherov doesn't want to miss time. I think Kucherov's one of those guys who wants to make his claim there for a Hall of Fame spot. Can't make the Hall of Fame if you're not playing regular season games.
From what I heard, it's kind of murky what the timeline is. They don't know if it's 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or 12 weeks.
4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, maybe until the postseason begins. Who knows? I'm hearing there's a lot of conflicting results. Maybe.
Well, got to make the playoffs, though.
Drew S. said, I could hear the grumpy F-bombs all the way here in Arizona when I saw number 12 hop over the boards on the top line tonight.
He fell over the boards. Clumsy oaf.
And then Drew S. also saying, Aho skated for warm-ups tonight. Thought maybe he'd be replacing Chara or Green.
That's when he should have played tonight against the worst team in the league. You want to give somebody a rest and break somebody else in, this is when you do it. Mm-hmm. They didn't think so.
Rusty Spooner also said, puck that. The NHL better know that the Islanders are the real deal.
There you go.
Absolutely. And then Brandon Frey also saying, hoping Ratu will join Bridgeport later on. He said he's planning on joining the Islanders in spring. Okay, great. The Bridgeport Islanders, terrific. So, towards the end of the year, you get some time here. Hopefully, if the Bridgeport Islanders are able to string something together, maybe they're fighting for a playoff spot. I mean, they're 1-2-2 right now, but maybe they just start slow too in Bridgeport.
I bet you score more points than Casper will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, watch. God almighty. Brandon Frey also said, do we know where Snow is? He has some position with the Islanders organization. Just don't know what he does.
He just cashes his checks.
I don't know
maybe he works the day shift and Tommy Baffy works the night shift.
Is that what you think it is? Because I do know he's got some sort of executive position or something like that. I know he's still with the organization. Have no idea what it is, though, what he does. So I'm very interested to see what he does. Maybe he's in some sort of relations field because maybe he does have good relations with items and individuals. So maybe he's in some sort of relations or executive relations position.
I don't think I think they just say, we'll just send you the checks. You're a consultant, whatever. Just cash your checks.
Rusty Spooner said, I don't want a cup. I need cups, plural. But I can't lie. I'll take at least one.
Yeah, at least one. Good luck.
Jared Ben also said, have you guys ever noticed that Barry mispronounces 90% of his own players' names? What the freak?
So I haven't noticed that. So does Butch.
Dude, Butchie. Ooh, Butchie. Yikes. Don't get me started. And Rusty Spooner said, I want a shirt that says Rinky Tickets or
Rinkets Tickets.
And just how I've been treated horribly by TJ. Thank you though for always being a gentleman, Grumpy.
That's what I'm here for.
Oh, come on.
I bring some class and decorum to this podcast.
Rusty, come on.
I have to
I'm sorry.
balance out TJ's negativity and nastiness.
I'm sorry, guys. We'll open up the phone line next week. It's just late, man. Jared Ben also said, I could understand other players from other teams mispronouncing, but your own players who you've been coaching for years, like seriously, well, they all run on nicknames: Barzy, Brocky. I mean, like they're all Bailey. I mean, like all the E's just add
Pulley, Pelly,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. So yeah, what can I say, Grumpy?
Bales.
Bales, Jesus, all the
When
abbreviations.
the tough gets going, he bails out.
Oh, freaking stop! Is that how you want to end the podcast on a little
Yeah, I
bit
certainly
like
do.
that?
Yeah.
Oh man, Grumpy. Well, what do you have to say before we wrap things up today?
I just want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens, and even those who don't, from TJ and the grumpy old man.
Well, thank you again, Grumpy, as always, for being a part of tonight's podcast. Man, oh man, I tell you, we were on late. I tell you, again, we go live every single Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every single Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless the Islanders have a game that day. But if the Islanders play that day, we go live post-game right after the game. Doesn't matter if it's an East Coast or West Coast game. And tonight, hey, thank you, Grumpy, for the dedication being on. I mean, I know it's around 2:30 your time. And thank you, everybody who showed up and commented, listened to the podcast. Again, as I've said before, and I'll say it again, you guys are the blood that is this podcast. You guys are the Islanders Never Say Bye community, the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. Again, always the hats off, and thank you, everybody, for listening and participating. Again, hey, I know we've promised the shirts for a long time. We're in the
They're coming.
They're in the home stretch. We're in the home stretch. That being said,
Sure.
when that gets done, there are other items also we're working on. But, to prevent myself from being a human cliffhanger, we'll wait until we get the shirts and the items and the memorabilia or the merchandise out, and then we'll kind of let you guys know what the next plans are. But thank you again, always, for listening. We always want to provide the best listening quality and the best product for you guys. So we're always working on ways to improve. Thank you so much, and thank you again, Grumpy Old Man.
My pleasure.